east-johnson.com today.
This year, instead of a short winter getaway from the cold, what if you took a permanent winter getaway from your hair loss? Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott, inviting you to come plan your winter transformation. I've helped thousands of Edmonton men and women get their hair and their confidence back. Many of them preferred the winter. Cooler temperatures are great for recovery, and winter hats can keep everything discreet. Trips are nice, but this winter, choose to invest in your vessel. Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Well, today we've got Nissan Kicks coming in strong as a leader in fuel efficiency for gas-only CUVs. Some of the other guys respond with a wallet-breaking detour to the pumps. That's off to Nissan's fuel-efficient Japanese engineering.
Right now, finance a Nissan Kicks for 0% for 36 months. Visit nissan.ca for details. Conditions apply.
Visit your local Edmonton and area Nissan dealer for more information.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Have your sports curiosity cured.
Nikishin. First attempt cutting on in. Deep save the door. The Flyers are going to the playoffs. Their postseason battle.
A veteran of the sports reporting game for over 25 years.
Come back the other way. Out the ice, it's Kucherov. Good point. Kucherov in. Point in. Kucherov. Stop! Nikita Kucherov. What a lightning strike in overtime. Bob Willis.
Breaking down Edmonton's favorite teams.
They've also missed several nets. Here's McDavid looking for the equalizer. Bouchard gives it back to him in front.
This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, here we go for Sol 645, Wednesday, April the 15th. Ain't nothing like a little new skiff of snow waking up on a Wednesday morning. Man, everyone's so sick of this crap already. Let's get on with spring. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Kevin Karius Show here on Sports 1440 on your AM radio dial, on your morning drive into work or wherever you're heading out on a Wednesday morning. So glad you could spend some time with us here on Sports 1440. You can also watch us on Sports 1440 AM. Drop us a like and a subscription. We're also on X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. We would really appreciate that like and subscription, by the way. As always, we're streaming on iHeartRadio, the TuneIn app, even sports1440.ca. And if you miss any part of any show, it turns into the many podcasts that are hanging out there, wherever they're hanging out, on Apple, Spotify, Google, even Amazon. Please subscribe. It's free. Select the auto download. You'll never miss a second of any show. Hey, text line's open, 833-401-1440. Give us a call as well if you want to chit-chat. We'll always take your calls here at Sports 1440. Well, the East is set when it comes to the dance partners at the Stanley Cup playoff party, but we'll get to the East momentarily. The Pacific Division is what everyone wants to talk about around here, and it's still murky, only because of what happened last night. And with a game to go for all four teams in the division, Anaheim lost to Minnesota by a score of 3-2. So that clouded things up for the Ducks playoff picture even more so. They could have made a bit of a jump over the Oilers. Not so. And then LA and Vancouver. Jake DeBrusk scores his second of the night in overtime to give Vancouver the 4-3 victory. So LA does get a point. And I mean, hey, put on your surprise face. The LA Kings went to overtime in this one. It's insane. Their record in post-regulation games. So tack on the shootouts and overtime. They're 13-20. So they've gone to 33 games past regulation this year. That's an absolutely insane number, but they do get the point. So Vegas remains at the top of the Pacific with 93 points. They've got a game left, and that is Seattle tonight. So if Vegas can sneak out a point, against Seattle, they've got the Pacific Division title. The Oilers are at 91 points. Of course, they close out their regular season tomorrow against Vancouver, and then you've got Anaheim and LA, both with 90 points, one back of the Oilers. So for the Oilers, if they can't catch Vegas, that means Seattle, doesn't do the Oilers a favor tonight. If the Oilers get 1 point tomorrow, against Vancouver, they will clinch second spot in the Pacific and home ice in the first round, whether it be Anaheim or LA. Anaheim will play the Predators tomorrow. The LA Kings will be in Calgary to take on the Flames. And you know what? Watching that Vancouver game against LA, the Canucks are playing hard. They played really hard last night. LA had the ice tilted a little bit in the third period, but, for the most part, Vancouver played hard, and they were deserving of an overtime win. Utah beat Winnipeg, so that means that Utah's locked into wild card 1. And the situation for the Mammoth it's simple. They will play either Vegas or they will play the Oilers in the first round. So only the Oilers can catch Vegas when it comes to the Pacific Division title. But man, oh man, there were some interesting results last night in the Pacific Division, and now the East is set as well as far as the dance partners go. It's going to be the Ottawa Senators in Carolina to take on the Hurricanes. And then it's going to be Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. We knew that combination for a little while. When you go to the Atlantic, now it's going to be Boston and Buffalo. Man, oh man, these two teams had some titanic tilts back in the day in the old Adams division. When you think about all the great teams in the 70s and 80s between the Buffalo Sabres and the Boston Bruins. And the other thing, too, about those two teams and the series that they had, well, they were playing in two of the smallest rinks going, because the Odd in Buffalo and the old Boston Garden, they weren't to NHL specs, to NHL regulations back in the day. So when those teams were built back in the day, they really impressed upon big, tough, heavy, maybe slower teams, but there was still some talent on all those great teams as well. But looking forward to an old Adams division rivalry, Boston and Buffalo, and then Montreal and Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay will go into this one as home ice and favorites. They've got home ice, and they'll be the favorites in this one. Montreal is coming on. They've got the goaltending finally. They've got some guys that are having incredible seasons in Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. Their defense has been coming together. Local product Caden Gooley and all that stuff. So it's going to be a hell of a series there as well. Last night, Columbus lost, and head coach Rick Bowness really let the Blue Jackets have it. And, you could see the emotion of a guy. He's 71 years old. And it's funny when you read the transcript first, because it was put out basically on Twix from reporters that were at the scene, doing post game. One of them, Aaron Portzline, who does such a fabulous job covering the Columbus Blue Jackets. And then the video came out, and you saw how emotional he was again. And that's Rick Bowness. Is he going to come back for another year? Holy man, 71 years old. But he really gave it to his team. Maybe he should have given it to his team 10 games ago, because that's when this team was flailing and maybe needed a kick in the backside. But he did it last night, and I think if you were a player in Columbus waking up this morning, you felt quite poorly about yourself. You should have felt that way about 3-4 games ago, though, when you were still in the mix and you weren't bringing it, because they fizzled down the stretch, and they fizzled on home ice, especially. We might run that clip a little bit later, hey, Duke, from Rick Bowness. We've got it in the hopper. But, hey, let's welcome in the Duke of Delburne and watching his Ducks last night lose to Minnesota. And, again, the Wild sat out several regulars Anaheim just couldn't get it done, Duke. 3-2 was the final last night. What'd you see in the game?
It was the final. I saw in the game a prank played on Minnesota goaltender Jesper Wallstedt where they replaced the name bar on his jersey with a incorrect spelling of his last name. And I was watching the Minnesota broadcast because that's what was available on Sportsnet Plus, and they picked up on it in the first period, which was pretty funny. They interviewed him about it after the game. He suspects backup goaltender Philip Gustafsson is the culprit in it. But and Wallstedt he said he didn't even realize until he was after the Anaheim scored the first goal. He's looking up at the jumbotron and watching the replay, and then he sees it on the back of his jersey. He says, "Wait a minute, there's supposed to be a T at the end of my name there." But anyway, and aside from that,
sorry to interrupt. But you say it was Gustafsson that you think. Now, do you think? Because I heard last night that maybe Marc-Andre Fleury.
That is who the Wild broadcasters first assumed were involved in this somehow. I think Ryan Carter, former guest of the show, Anthony LaPanta, kind of saying like, is Fleury in the building tonight? Because he seems very primed to be involved in something like this. But Wallstedt himself said he believes it was Philip Gustafsson. So I'm sure we'll get a little more clarity on that here in the next day or so. Somebody wants to maybe own up to it and take credit. We'll see.
Fleury's made his own bed here because in Pittsburgh and Minnesota and probably Vegas to an extent, no matter what happens, it's always whatever. If
it circles back to him,
small prank, it will be linked back to him.
Yeah.
So,
but for the rest of the game, Anaheim played mostly well. It's my biggest concern about this Ducks team, in terms of new concerns, with a lot of the stuff is nothing new. Like, they're not a particularly strong defensive team, right? The special teams aren't anything to really write home about. I think John Carlson has helped the power play to an extent in the second, or they kind of have a 1 and 1A type unit. They don't necessarily overload one group, but Lucas Dostal, who's a guy that has shown an ability to steal games and stand on his head at times for this team, particularly in years past when they weren't as competitive. First goal that goes past him, a little bit of a tough one, kind of like right through his arm. If Oilers fans were watching this and whoever let it in, they'd be cursing the name of the goaltender that lets that get by. He's been struggling down the stretch here a little bit, and you have to think if Anaheim has any chance against whomever they play in the first round, he's going to need to be much better. But yeah, it's too bad they scored late. I think it was 46 seconds left to make it a 1-goal game. Then didn't really get anything going in the final 45 to force the issue and trying to get to extra time. So it's too bad my Pacific Division future that I had on them from back in the fall comes up short.
What was that worth?
I can't even remember. It was plus 1,100 was the price on it. I can't even. I don't know where I put 10 or 15 bucks on it. And that wasn't even the start of the season. That's when they were sitting first in the division. Back in October, November, whatever it was that I placed it, thinking, yeah, this is a smart time to do it when the value is probably as low as it's going to get. But anyway, it was a fun ride. I had some cash out opportunities that I just glanced past. They at least have some clarity now. Now their biggest concern, I think, is fending off the Kings. To try and hold down the third spot in the Pacific and not have to jump over into that Central Division bracket, which we kind of, mulled over the possibility of the Oilers having to do. That is now off the table for them, thankfully, and they'll still have their chance at the division title, of course, taking care of business against
the Oilers could still get fourth here, Duke, if they lose in Anaheim and LA. Sure. If the Oilers lose and both Anaheim and LA win, the Oilers go down to the number 4 hole, do they not? If Anaheim and LA both win their games,
I suppose that's true.
Yeah, if the Oilers in Anaheim, if the Anaheim Ducks and the LA Kings both win their games, they go to 92. Oilers lose their game to Vancouver tomorrow, they stay at 91.
I must have misread whatever I saw. Oh yeah, no, I misread the tweet, and I think it was actually from it was from the con man actually, where he was laying out all the possible scenarios, and a win guarantees them home ice advantage.
A point. 1 point. All they got to do is get 1 point against Vancouver. That puts them to 92. If both Anaheim and LA win, that puts them at 92, but the Oilers have them in regulation wins, both those two teams.
Right, you are.
So they just need 1 point tomorrow against Vancouver. Just get it to overtime, and you've got home ice advantage in the first round, and that would be either against Anaheim or LA. If the Oilers were to lose against the Canucks, and again, Vancouver played really hard. They played the Kings hard last night. If they were to lose, and in a game like that, you have nothing to lose. You're playing loosey-goosey. It's the whole thing. Then things can get a little stinky and sticky for sure. Text 833-401-1440. Even Jane Victoria connects and won 3 in a row. Love the race. With it so tight, do the Oilers sit anyone? Very curious to see the lineup tomorrow. And I don't know. They're not sitting anyone. In fact, they'll be getting guys back, I would say, Jay and Zach Hyman. I would be surprised if he doesn't play tomorrow night. I want to get one game in before the playoffs start on the weekend at some point. So they need 1 point. I mean, you can say you don't care where you finish. You want home ice. And here's another thing that could come into factor. If somehow Utah were to lose its last game of the year, then the Oilers, you look ahead to round number 2, and maybe somehow Utah wins round number 1, upsets someone. Well, now you got home ice in round 2. So, I mean, there's several things to look at here for sure. I'll tell you what, NBA last night, it was easily, well, I shouldn't say easily because I'd have to ask some guys that know basketball way more than me, but it had to have been one of the best, if not the best play-in game that's ever been. Josh is even shaking his head. Yes, so I'm right there. The best play-in game ever with Miami and Charlotte. Charlotte wins it 127-126. So Miami is out. Charlotte now awaits the winner. Pardon me, the winner of the LA and Golden State game. So that's where that is. But no, what am I talking about? 76ers in Orlando. I'm crossing it up here. So there was just a hell of a game here. But I was looking at Portland and Phoenix. And Portland, that's got to be an upset. So 114 Portland, Phoenix 110. Portland goes on to play the Spurs. Phoenix gets the second chance again against LA, the Clippers or Golden State here. But man, oh man, the amount of lead changes went to overtime, last second bucket, last second block. I mean, Charlotte's run continues. They've been playing so well down the stretch. So we've got a team that's a younger team that's putting it together, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward here. We're going to talk to Julian Edlow about that from DraftKings right off the hop. So we're going to switch gears and talk a little basketball. We'll discuss tonight's play-in games with the Clippers and Golden State, and then the Sixers taking on Orlando. So, and then get his thoughts on the Raptors in Cleveland and some other matchups moving forward in the NBA with Julian Edlow. And that's coming up right off the hop here. Also in the big program this morning, we got Mark Spectre as usual from Rogers Sportsnet. He'll check in at 8 o'clock. Rob Longley from the Toronto Sun covers the Blue Jays. What a game for the Blue Jays. What a win last night. They come back to beat Milwaukee 9-7 in 10 innings. They trailed by 3 in the 9th inning, put up a 3 spot, go up 6-4, and then old Hoffy time comes in. Hoffman blows and gives up 2 runs at 6-6. And then in the 10th, it was Vladimir Guerrero and Miles Straw coming through with the bats, and they win it by a score of 9-7, and a good job by Louis Varland to close things out. He actually gets the win because he came on because Hoffman couldn't finish it up. We'll have another edition of Cam and Eggs. David Schlemco, the co-host from 9 to 11 for Cougar Paint and Collision. Owen Newkerk from DLLS Sports in the 9 o'clock hour. Lots of news with Rupe Hins and other injuries with the Stars moving forward. And then Landon Ferraro, our Sports 1440 pre- and post-game show host at 10:20. When we come back, Julian Edlow from DraftKings, the basketball guru, the basketball analyst on the Kevin Carey Show with the Duke of Delburne and Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Would you like to be a part of history for the month of April? I'm kidding. Or as the kids say, bro, I'm joking. Would you like to help us set a record in April? Chill. Still kidding. At Northgate, we aren't trying to set any records or tell you how many vehicles we sell. And we really don't think you'd care. But what you will care about is this. Every dealer has the same costs. Trust me. GM does not have a favorite kid. You get to decide where you buy. 0% financing, a great selection, and of course, great people. Stop in and see us today. 13215 97th Street or business online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
With the lead up to the playoffs underway, players are definitely stepping up their game.
And the fans are doing the same. Simple snacks like chips and dip may work at the front half of the season, but now more and more fans are rocking the Wilhauk beef jerky for game time get-togethers.
Just make sure you bring enough for everyone if you want to be invited back for the playoffs.
Make your next hockey game day a Will Hockey game day with Wilhauk beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win games with salad.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need, when you need it, 24/7, 365, every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
Are you overwhelmed by debt and getting nonstop calls from creditors? It can feel like there's no escape. Debt doesn't have to be a life sentence. A single call can turn things around. My name is Parveen Middleton. I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO right here in Edmonton. I can help you become debt-free with a solution just for you. Let's put an end to those calls from creditors together. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to discover your debt-free future.
Stories, guests, and insights. This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 7:21 in Edmonton, and time now for the game of the day, brought to you by St. Albert Dodge, where the 2026 Ram 2500 Black Express packages are humming along. They've got the 20-inch black aluminum wheels, the black Mopar side steps, the body collar bumpers, and a grille to match. It's the sports performance hood to boot. See them at stalbertdodge.com. As we welcome back Julian Edlow from DraftKings, the basketball guru and analyst. Good morning, Julian. You're with Kevin Karius. Thanks, as always, for jumping on Sports 1440. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hey, that Miami-Charlotte game, is that the best play-in game ever by far that you've seen?
There have been some good ones over the years. There have been others that went to OT, I believe. One year, we also got a Warriors-Lakers one. We got Curry versus LeBron in the play-in. So, and I think that came down to the last shot as well. They all seem to come down to the last shot. Phoenix and Portland came down to the last possession too. So there's been some great games, but in terms of excitement, in terms of like both teams had the game won at one point in time, and it went the other way in seconds. So like the back and forth drama and how quickly it went from, oh, Charlotte's going to win to, oh, Miami's going to win, and back and forth. That was about as exciting as it gets.
And how did that skew the action? You know, going overtime always, you know, it's going to be the over no matter what with two teams like that. But how did that skew the action? That, you know, with what do we have? The lead swings of 16 and 17 ties and everything else. What did that change for you at DraftKings watching that game last night?
Yeah, I mean, in a game like that, the live lines were all over the place. I know at one point in time we had Charlotte money line at plus 1,300 available. So 13-1 on the live line for the Hornets at one point in time late in the game. The total was impacted by overtime. That total closed, I think, 230.5, and we had 228 in regulation. So it did need overtime to get over the total. But yeah, I think Charlotte was pretty public, but they did not cover the spread. So spread bettors didn't get anything there. Charlotte, if you have futures or you played the money line or parlayed the money line, you stayed alive there.
Mm-hmm. And what did you think of the second game of the night, Portland and Phoenix, with Portland winning that one 114-110, Julian?
Yeah, that was, again, a game that Portland looked like they were going to run away with it early. Phoenix comes back. It goes back and forth for a little bit. And then the Suns break it open. And the Blazers had 18 points in the first, I think with 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter, they had 18 points in the second half. It looked like the offense was going to completely shut down, and they came alive. So that, again, that was another one that really went back and forth. Both teams looked like they were going to run away with it, and it wound up coming down to the wire. I was impressed with what Portland was able to do in crunch time on the road. Now, we got San Antonio minus 2,000 on the series line. They're a double-digit favorite in game one. I don't think Portland has much of a chance to get more than a game, really, against the Spurs the way that they're playing. But I was impressed with Portland. This is kind of what they envisioned when they came into the season and sprinkled in some veterans like Drew Holiday into the mix with that young core. So, you know, it's positive for them moving forward for sure, but they're kind of running into a buzzsaw here in the actual playoff.
Yeah, when they're going up against the Spurs, as you said, Julian, you don't see much happening in the sense that Portland could even sneak out a game here.
Their defense has been good enough to win a game. Denny Advia was awesome last night against Phoenix. He's developing into, you know, one of the young stars in the NBA. So it's a lot of these first round heavy favorites are typically the gentleman's sweep. They'll steal a game. You know, Orlando got a game against the Celtics last year. They generally wind up turning into 4-1, and the home team can kind of dig out a game. But just going off the prices, off of the market, a San Antonio sweep is the most likely outcome.
Julian Edlow from DraftKings, basketball analyst, our guest on Kevin Karius show here on Sports 1440. So tonight, what kind of numbers are we looking at? What are you sniffing out? What are you feeling about the two other play-in games? And let's start with the 76ers and the Magic.
Yeah, this is a weird one. Orlando opened the favorite on DraftKings Sportsbook. Now they're 2.5-point underdogs. Philly doesn't have Embiid, which against Orlando's size should matter. You know, you don't want to be lacking size against the Magic, who play a big lineup. That said, I don't really trust Orlando much. They did not live up to the hype whatsoever this season. You go back to their last game, they were here in Boston playing the Celtics end of the bench in the last game of the regular season with a chance to improve their playoff seeding, and they lose that game as a 13-point favorite. You got reports that there's some internal stuff in the locker room. The players want the coach fired. There's a report that the coach will be fired regardless of the outcome of the postseason. It doesn't sound like a good situation in that locker room. And, you know, Philly's going to be a tough road environment. I would lean to the Sixers in the game. I agree with where the money has kind of gone there and the movement on the spread and the money line. Total's also moving up, and we saw a couple of overs last night. I think this game could be a little uglier. I don't mind the under. Again, Orlando's offense can get so stagnant at times, and then you don't have Embiid for Philly. Maxi's been struggling a little bit. Paul George is working his way back from injury. I don't mind the under in that game. I will say whoever loses this game, even though they're going to be at home on Friday night, I don't mind Charlotte looking to Charlotte against the loser of this game on Friday night. The Hornets are now 34-15 since January 3rd. Yeah. And, you know, if they played at that clip for the whole season, we wouldn't be talking about the play-in. They would probably have home court in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. So whoever loses is going to be a struggling team that plays a red-hot team that also has an extra day off on Friday night. So I'm looking a little bit ahead to that one as a game that I'm more confident in than this one tonight.
Over-under on DraftKings between the Magic and 76ers. Latest I saw was 225.5. Were you surprised, Julian, that the line kind of swayed the other way without Joel Embiid playing for Philly?
Well, we're at 222.5 on that game, and it was 220.5. So it's ticked up a little bit, which I understand. We saw some exciting games last night. We saw some high scoring, but unders still in the history of the play-in have been profitable, even with the two overs cashing last night. And again, if we didn't go to overtime in Charlotte, that one would have stayed under just barely, but stayed under as well. So I think it's a tough game without Embiid and the way that Orlando's been playing. Orlando is 13-7 to the over their last 20 games, but Philly's been playing to the under recently. I think they can dictate a little more on their home court. And again, I just don't trust Orlando's offense to put it together for a full game. They're going to have stretches like we saw in the second half of that Portland and Phoenix game where teams go 5, 6, 7 minutes scoring 4 points. I think we're going to have some of those stretches tonight in Philly.
Yeah, and you really think, you got a good feeling of, the loser of this game, when they play Charlotte, it'll be the Hornets that would be the favorite and maybe even coming out on top in this one?
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that one will wind up priced. I think it'll be pretty close to a pick, regardless of what the matchup is, which is telling you, since Charlotte will be on the road, that they're the higher power rated team. There'll be a public side in the game because people like this Hornets team. Bettors like this Hornets team. They want to back Charlotte. But you're going to just have a much hotter team in the Hornets. I didn't love their defense at times last night, and they also really struggled against the zone. So maybe Philly or Orlando take something from that Miami kind of put the blueprint for them to play some zone defense down the stretch. But I trust Charlotte to be able to score. And also, you had LaMelo Ball and Con Knippel going whatever it was, 2 of 19, 2 of 20, whatever it wound up being from 3. I know the rest of the players, Miles Bridges, Kobe White, helped bail out there a little bit. But you got to think that Ball and Knippel will not be that bad from 3 and give him a little bit more offensively.
Mm-hmm. Julian Edlow from DraftKings, our basketball analyst. So out west, Warriors and Clippers. At DraftKings, you got the over-under at 221.5. Clippers favored by 5.5. Do you see, out of all the games, and even last night was tight again, and as you mentioned, overtime had a lot to do with it. Do you see maybe a little more discrepancy between the two teams in this one here, Julian?
This is a tough one. I don't think I'm going to have a side in this game. On paper, the Clippers should win. They've been bet out from 4.5 to 5.5 point home favorites. The Intuit Dome is a legitimate home court advantage for them. They just beat the Warriors in the season finale without Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi is going to play in this game. Draymond Green didn't play for the Warriors. Some other Warriors starters didn't play, but Steph Curry did play. He's working his way back from injury and wanted to get some more minutes under his belt. He played, I think, around 30 minutes in that game on Sunday. You see the Warriors with Steph Curry and Draymond healthy as 5.5 point dogs in a playoff game. That's going to be pretty tempting. The Clippers have been they had a terrible start to the season and really put it together down the stretch, despite being sellers and getting rid of pieces like Zubac and, kind of changing the core of the team a little bit. On paper, the Clippers should win this game, but how many times have we seen them collapse in the playoffs? And we've got, as tested of a playoff team as you could imagine, as long as you have Curry and Draymond as the core of that Golden State team. I kind of, again, we're seeing games fly over. I kind of, again, lean to the under the 221.5 in this one and say that these teams are going to be able to clamp down defensively and slow the pace a little bit in a do or die elimination game. I wouldn't be surprised if either team wins this. But again, I would say against the Suns, who have looked good at times this season, but are now just 6-13 against the spread at home over their last, 19 games.
Mm-hmm.
I, again, will probably take the lower seeded road team on Friday night, the winner of this Warriors-Clippers game, as an underdog in Phoenix on Friday night.
Do you ever get the bad feeling, though, when you get all the great older players that have been around and know what it takes, and you mentioned them, Curry and Draymond and Porzingis, all these guys, do you ever get the feeling, though, that maybe they can just, push the sun back in the sky one more time and, have a big performance?
Oh, for sure. And that's why the Warriors are really dangerous 5.5 point underdogs to be hosting in an elimination game. I'm sure that the Clippers are not thrilled about that matchup. They would rather have, with all due respect to Portland and Phoenix, they would probably rather see Portland or Phoenix in this game than Golden State. So there's absolutely a chance that Curry can just put up 45 points. Draymond Green locks down on defense. Porzingis hits some threes. and the Warriors steal this game. So on the flip side, Kawhi Leonard can do the same. Kawhi Leonard can put up 45 points. He's had some high scoring outputs in this season as well. He was really good the second half of the year. So a lot of dangers on both sides, really, with playoff proven championship caliber superstars.
Julian Edlow with us on Sports 1440. You got to bring up the Raptors and Cavs when they get going here. Julian, out of all the teams, maybe the Cavs is the best matchup for Toronto, but their success came against a Cavs team that is a lot different than what we saw with them make the moves at the deadline, etc. But what's your early indication, some numbers? What do they tell you in that series?
Yeah, I think the Raptors are probably going to struggle in this series. It's a pretty tall order here with the Mitchell Harden backcourt is going to be very tough to defend, and then the size in the middle with Mobley and Allen. I think Cleveland's obviously had its struggles in the postseason, but they do have some experience. They generally, come undone in tougher matchups against higher caliber teams. Market says this should be about 4-1 Cleveland, and I think we will wind up seeing Cavs in 5 would be my guess if you pinned me down for kind of the exact result of the series. Cavs are 8.5-point favorites at home in game 1 on Saturday afternoon. Toronto doesn't have many playoff proven pieces on that roster. I think this is more of a get there and learning experience for Toronto, whereas Cleveland's been there, done that. They have a lot of playoff proven pieces, even a James Harden who doesn't come through in the bigger moments, but has been in this situation plenty of times. I would be pretty surprised if Cleveland doesn't advance relatively easily, and then, we'll see against, you would presume, Detroit in the second round. Cleveland will be favored in that series, the market tells us. Cleveland's higher on the board to come out of the Eastern Conference than Detroit. So I think Cavs get through relatively easily and then have a tougher time against Detroit. The Pistons, by the way, at 22-1 to win it all.
Mm-hmm.
This is the third time in the last 50 years that a 1 seed in either conference has been 20-1 or longer to win the NBA championship. So the market is not respecting the regular season that the Pistons put together.
So what's the market tell you for, other teams that we're going to see here at the end with OKC? You mentioned the Spurs and even the Nuggets and Celtics. What's it telling you there, Julian?
Yeah, those are the favorites. OKC is an odds-on favorite to come out of the West. They're just plus 110 to win it all. It's almost a pick, OKC against the field, if you want to put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think San Antonio has showed they're very capable of beating them. They showed that in the regular season. They're not afraid of this team. And if we get that matchup, I would love to take some plus money in that series with the Spurs. The issue is the way things fell the last day of the regular season, the Spurs have to most likely play Denver in the second round if the Nuggets can get past Minnesota, which is going to be a scrappy series for sure. The Timberwolves are a tough first round matchup, but Denver had success against San Antonio in the regular season. So Denver could be a thorn in San Antonio's side before the Spurs even have a chance to get that OKC series. So that's the one that I would be most worried about if I'm San Antonio. And then I'm a little biased. I'm here in Boston, but I like what I've seen from the Celtics recently, putting it together down the stretch. They're healthy. Tatum has been very smooth in his return coming back. He's going to be well rested, sitting the last 2 games of the regular season and then having this play-in week off before the Celtics play game 1 against whoever wins this Orlando-Philly game on Sunday afternoon. So I think that Boston's in pretty strong shape. Obviously, they're the favorites in the Eastern Conference. I think they're in pretty strong shape to come out of the East, and they have that bad taste in their mouth from last season, losing to the Knicks as huge favorites in the second round. We could see that matchup in the second round again if both teams advance. I do like the Celtics in the Eastern Conference. I think it would take a pretty strong effort from a Cleveland or a New York or a Detroit to win a series against them.
And Julian, have you got not a long shot, but maybe a longer shot that could get to the NBA Finals per se? You mentioned Minnesota. Somehow, if they can get by Denver and get a little bit of a roll going, could it be a Houston or the Knicks? What are you looking at there?
Yeah, I don't have a long shot that I've bet, but if you put it that way, like, you know, the Hawks are 25-1 to win the Eastern Conference. I think the Hawks have a chance against the Knicks. I don't love them, but the problem is they get Boston in the second round. So I don't like the way that the bracket fell for them. But the Hawks would be my sleeper pick. They're at 25-1 to win the Eastern Conference. I just think the path is really tough. If the Knicks, the Knicks beat Boston last year and they had a 3-1 lead basically with Tatum in the mix. If the Knicks could beat the Celtics again, I think the Cavs have a chance to get past the Pistons. And if it was a Cavs-Knicks Eastern Conference final, the Cavs are there at plus 330 to win the Eastern Conference. But again, I do think Boston is the plus 155 favorite, is going to be the team that winds up coming out of the East. I don't really have one in the West. I think it's going to be one of the top three teams on the board, which is OKC minus 160, San Antonio plus 330, and Denver plus 500. If you ask me to pick out of that field to bet one, I would bet San Antonio plus 330.
Hey, Julian, as always, thanks so much for your insight, information. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the two play-in games tonight, the rest of the week, and then once the real party starts on the weekend. Really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, of course. Thanks as always for having me on.
Julian Edlow from DraftKings, basketball guru, analyst, and our game of the day brought to you by St. Albert Dodge, where the 2026 Ram 2500 Black Express packages are smoking hot. Check them out at stalbertdodge.com. When we come back, I think we'll hear the comment from Rick Bonus, who let his Blue Jackets have it. Interesting text from Mark regarding what he thought about Rick's rant. You want to call it that? We'll get to your text as well. 833-401-1440. It's a Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Business owners, if rising electricity costs are cutting into your profits, there's a smarter way forward. Right now, federal clean technology tax credits can cover 30 to over 50% of the cost of a commercial solar system, delivering an immediate return on your investment. And in Edmonton and Sturgeon County, the Commercial Clean Energy Improvement Program offers long-term financing for up to 20 years, making solar more affordable than ever. Lock in lower energy costs for decades and strengthen your bottom line. Visit GreatCanadianSolar.com to get started.
It's Truck Month at Wolf GMC Buick, and we know trucks. And we have the best deals of the year right now. Some have 0% for 4 years. We have 0% for 6 years. That's on our number one selling GMC Sierra half-ton crew cab, or the Elevation, the AT4, or Denali. Yep, 0% for 72 months. And Costco members get an extra discount on some of our SUVs. Pop in today and drive away smiling. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster Juice is going bananas for hazelnuts.
I mean, there are bananas in smoothies, but that's not the point.
Banana juice is booster for hazelnuts.
What? Just stop.
Booster Juice is going nuts for hazelnut. Introducing the Nutty Monkey Smoothie, Holy Hazelnut Acai Bowl, and Nutty Booster Ball, all made with rich, creamy hazelnut spread. Try them today, only at Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Divorce is never easy, but Fairway Divorce Solutions can help.
Their clear step-by-step process addressed all our issues, and we moved through the process quickly.
Fairway didn't take sides. They saved us money and heartache.
My ex, the kids, and I feel like we'll all be okay.
At Fairway Divorce Solutions, trained mediators and in-house lawyers will move your divorce process forward in a professional and efficient manner to achieve a fair resolution and separation agreement. Visit fairwaydivorce.com.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Fast track your financial goals with a special rate term deposit from Vision Credit Union. For a limited time, take advantage of a great rate on 1, 3, or 5-year terms. Plus, as a Vision Credit Union member, you can earn up to 25% more on your interest through profit shares. For details, contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca. That's visioncu.ca.
River Cree is the place for all your favorite sports. River Cree Resort and Casino, featuring UFC action and boxing live on the big screens at Tap 25, the MVP of sports bars, and in the center bar. Plus, catch all the biggest games, every goal, every slam dunk. River Cree is also home to the Twin Rinks, where rec hockey and community teams come to play. Public skating available. Details at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 745 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick with you here on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. Our text line, 833-401-1440. Mark comes in and says, good morning, Kevin. I thought Rick Bowness's rant yesterday was absolutely Bush League. Not once did he take accountability for his performance as a coach and blamed everything on the players. There's no way he can come back. He did the same thing in Winnipeg and lost the room. Absolutely embarrassing for him, for Mark. We talked about this off the top, and again, I thought the comments, and we're going to play them right now, right away. I thought the comments could have been done a week or two ago because the team, and that's a throwaway game yesterday. It's a garbage game for everyone. Maybe it needed to happen 2 weeks ago or so, ballpark, because down the stretch, Columbus was not very good. I mean, the Blue Jackets wrap up the season 2-7-1. The difference between the Blue Jackets and Philadelphia making the playoffs and getting that third seat in the Met division, Philadelphia went 7-3. The Islanders spit the bid out. Columbus spit it out. Detroit did it. But in case you haven't seen it or heard it, here were Rick Bowness's comments following the loss last night.
Rick, you've been a part of a lot of games and a lot of seasons. Have you ever been part of something that's as frustrating as this has been down the stretch?
No. And all you got to do is look at the stat sheet. 3 hits, 23 giveaways. I don't know if I'm back, but if I'm back, I'm changing this culture. These guys, they don't care. Losing is not important enough to them. It doesn't bother them. How can you go out and play like that? Could have done this about a month ago. But this is why we are where we are. This is why we're out of the playoffs. That kind of effort. Losing, you have to hate losing. I don't care if it's a meaningless game. I don't care. Show up and compete. 3 hits, 23 giveaways. What else you want to know?
You reached them for so long after you got here. How did it stop? Where did it stop?
Because it got tough. Because it got hard. Like we talked about after the Olympic break. It's going to get harder. So everything's good as long as it's going their way. And now it gets tough. We don't want to battle back. And that's what's happened over the last a couple of weeks. That's all that's happened. We're going to change that. If I'm back, I don't know if I'm back. Don and I will talk. We'll get to that. But man, oh man, some of those guys are so lucky the season's over and there's no practice tomorrow. Anyways, and there's no more games. What else?
I think that was pretty well. There was a little bit more, I think, but he went on and he kept saying, what else? Anything else? So text 833-401-1440. Noel Rinsky said he even said he should have done it a month ago. That was genuine. I'm not saying it wasn't genuine, Noel. Of course it's genuine. You could see the emotion in him. You can feel the emotion. And the only thing that needed to be done here is that, as you said, he should have done it a month ago. And maybe he did it inside the room and they didn't respond. Now that's a bigger problem. If he went off on the team and called the team out like this, like he did in front of the whole media and the whole world, because it's been played 100 million times here in the last little bit. If you had that same conversation with your players behind closed doors and they did not respond, now that's a bigger problem. 833-401-1440. Dallas says, I'm not disagreeing with what he's saying. I'm sure there are guys who don't care if they lose. They just want summer vacation to start. But Rick has to know that and find a way to either get rid of those guys or get them to care. Here's the other thing. Rick Bowness is a career coach. This guy's been around forever. He's 71 years old. He's seen it all. As a head coach in the NHL, though, he's had very, very little success. He's been an assistant coach for just as long as he's been a head coach, if not longer, for locales and stops. When he went to Ottawa, when they were just starting out as an expansion team, man, he took bullets there, man. They barely won any games in Ottawa. They were the worst team. They won 10 games one year. We had some comments, even the fact that, he did this in Winnipeg. When he was in Winnipeg as a head coach, they won 52 games in 23-24. 52 games. They lost in the opening round. So you can talk about the passion and the emotion. Does he come back? Does he want to come back? He says he's going to talk to Don Waddell. Well, I'm assuming he's going to have to talk to, family as well to see exactly the direction of where he wants to go with his career, his life. 833-401-1440. Hillman says, morning, gentlemen. That wasn't bad. He's upset. I've heard worse. Hey, Duke, what do you make of this? And when this first came out, it came out in print, I guess. It was a
it was tweeted as quoted, and then the actual video footage of it obviously came shortly thereafter. But to be honest, Kevin, I kind of read this as just an emotional blow-off valve. End of the season, as you discussed, right? Columbus did not play out the string well at all.
No.
It was not close to what the likes of the Flyers did, even what the Capitals did to try and get themselves back in the fight. Like, Columbus was the team that, if you base it on the last 10, 15 games of the season, whatever kind of brackets you want to put on it, did not deserve to be in the playoffs. And I thought his comment about, what changed compared to a month ago, or maybe even a little bit less, when we were talking about Rick Bowness as, has he been a coach long enough to qualify for the Jack Adams Trophy because of what he's done turning around this Columbus team since taking over it, and the run they went on when he first got behind the bench? It's a completely different conversation we were having at that time. But the games got more difficult. The pressure heated up. It wasn't going to be just all of a sudden playing for the sake of playing and having fun again because you have nothing to lose. Well, now all of a sudden they did have something to lose, and it did seem that it kind of got to them a little bit. I'm not saying he's absolved of any responsibility, and I don't believe that he is either, right? As you said, a lifetime coach that's been with some really good teams, some abhorrently bad teams. I would be shocked if he's back.
Here's the thing. Like, when a coach like that, as I said, he's a career coach. He's been coaching since 1984 in the NHL. So, it's a crazy amount of time. When he comes out and a coach comes out that's been around this long, I look at it like he's playing with house money here. He doesn't have to. He doesn't need to come back and coach next year. He never ever thought he was going to coach again until he got the call from Don Waddell. The other thing too, when he's calling out guys, so let's liken this to and bring up Zach Werenski, because Zach Werenski's name gets brought up for the Norris Trophy all the time as a top three, easy top three. Well, Zach Werenski did nothing the last 10 games. Nothing. People crap on Evan Bouchard for his first 10 games in October. All the experts out east All the experts say, well, oh, man, Bouchard was terrible at the start of the year. Well, what about Werenski at the end of the year? Wayne says, hey, this is just proof for what's wrong with our society. So worried about others' feelings getting hurt. Professionals, they get paid a lot of money. Sorry if it hurts. Well, again, it's a bigger, deeper problem if he addressed this with the team 10 games ago and there was no response. You liken it to what happened in Detroit. Todd McClellan has done the same thing. The response wasn't enough. You didn't see enough to get them to where they need to be, where they want to be. We'll get to more of your texts as the morning progresses. 833-401-1440. Coming up at the top of the hour, Mark Spectre from Rogers Sportsnet. He'll check in with his usual 8 o'clock slot. Before that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by AWS Welding Supplies in Nisku. Product sales, servicing, calibrating, free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. Your one-stop shop for all things welding, awswelding.ca. Here is the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
A 9-game slate across the NHL last night, including the finalization of the seeding in the Eastern Conference playoff picture. Boston secures wildcard spot number 1 with a 4-0 win over the Devils. The Habs fall to the Flyers 4-2. Minnesota beat Anaheim 3-2. The Mammoth locked up wildcard number 1 in the West with a 5-3 win over Winnipeg. Avalanche top the Flames 3-1. Penguins fall to the Blues 7-5. And the Kings pick up another overtime loss point, falling 4-3 to the Canucks in Vancouver. In the association, first 2 playoff play-in games last night were thrillers as Charlotte, led by 30 points from LaMelo Ball, including the game winner with less than 5 seconds. They beat Miami 127-126. They'll now head on to take on the loser of tonight's Orlando and Philadelphia game. And out west, Phoenix losing to Portland 114-110. Trailblazers secure the 7th seed in the Western Conference. Over in the majors, the Blue Jays comeback fashion beat the Brewers set 9-7 in the series opener in Milwaukee. Homering in the win, Andres Jimenez and Dalton Varsho. Around the rest of the majors yesterday, Arizona beat Baltimore 4-3. Tigers over the Royals 2-1. The Cubbies, they beat up on the Phillies 10-4. Yankees fall to the Angels 7-1. And the Red Sox, they get blanked by Minnesota 6-0. Coming up in hour 2, the Kevin Karius Show will be joined by Sportsnet's Mark Spectre, as well as Rob Longley from the Toronto Sun covering the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada. Properties include the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility in Nisku, features 2 sheets of ice, a 1,600-seat arena, as well as Summit Restaurant. Learn more at silentice.com.
One app, triple the action. Play Alberta is proof that good things do come in threes. Whether you're into playing any of our exciting casino games, betting on your favorite professional sports teams from around the world, or buying into Canada's biggest lottery, Play Alberta is the province's only app to do it all. Download today and discover a new way to play.
Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense. At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings. Until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
Don't let equipment failure stop you cold. At AWS Welding in Nisku, our factory-trained service techs are on hand for all welding equipment repairs. We're a fully warranted center for Miller, Lincoln, and ESAB. And we service all makes and models. Proper, regular service extends the life of your gear and keeps it running at peak capacity. Don't wait for a breakdown. Book your service appointment today at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
Expand your brand with Fusion Promo Marketing. Fusion is your trusted partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Hey, it's Jamie from Green Drop Lawn Care. You've known and trusted us as Canada's lawn expert since 1979. In all that time, the only thing we've loved to watch grow and flourish more than your lawn is our community. You've given us so much over the years, and we love to give back. Our community events crew is on the streets, at the festivals, and helping grow great causes and charities across the city. We love knowing your lawn is taken care of, and we'll help take care of the community too. Visit greendrop.com, and we'll see you out there.
Start thinking spring road trips and off-road trips in your new Subaru Crosstrek. Stylish, rugged, and so many features. Standard on every Crosstrek. Subaru symmetrical all-wheel drive, EyeSight driver assist technology, heated seats, and LED steering responsive headlights. Plus, with interest rates from 0.99%, you'll love the affordable weekly payments. No waiting, immediate delivery available. Subaru Crosstrek. Visit Subaru.ca. Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru.
Just in time for the morning skate. This is the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 801 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick with you here on Sports 1440 AM radio. Time now for On the Mark, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. The playoff push is here, but in April at Northgate, there is no pressure, no giveaways, no phony prizes, just good old-fashioned deals. See more at northgategm.com as we welcome in Mark Spectre from Rogers Sportsnet. Good morning, Spec.
What's going on, Kev? How are you, man?
Oh, doing great. We just played that Rick Bowness clip from last night. I'm sure you heard it or read it or whatever.
I did.
Yeah, and I mean, he was obviously pretty emotional and things like that. And I mean, I don't know. Do you think he comes back? And I mean, just the way he was, talking about it, I don't know if I want to come back. I got to talk to Don and this and that. And like I said I said it in the last segment. A guy like that, he's playing with house money. He doesn't need to come back. He doesn't need a job. He doesn't need to coach.
Right.
So, you can go out and say stuff like that. I thought the bigger problem is that, I assume that he would have addressed his team like that 10 days ago. I assume that, or 2 weeks ago, or 10 games ago. But
yeah, probably.
Yeah, the message just wasn't received down the stretch here. As he said, it got tougher for them. And they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, you could just hear the frustration, right? They were a team that had every chance to make the playoffs, and then they folded up like a tent down the stretch. I'm sure that he had similar words to his players when it mattered. At this point, they're playing meaningless hockey.
Mm-hmm.
There's really not a lot of point of yelling at a team when once it's over and you can't make the playoffs, players are halfway barely listening anyway.
Yeah.
But listen, I don't know. I would say to you that a guy like Rick Bowness knows what he's talking about. He's been around forever. He's absolutely highly and well respected by everybody in hockey.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, oh, did you know Rick Bowness is really this or that? Rumors kicking around hockey, man. This guy almost walks on water in the level of respect he gets from everybody, and he's earned it.
Yeah.
So if he's saying that about my organization, and he's been inside the room now for a couple of months, if I'm ownership there, I'm very concerned. Second of all, I should have known it already. This organization's been 25 years in the league. They've won one playoff series.
Yeah.
They got massive issues with getting anything done. Ever since Doug McLean started that thing, they've been no good.
Yeah.
So, Do I need Rick Bowness to tell me that my team's no good? I should be able to just look at the standings after a quarter century and figure it out. But that's a problem. They got a problem there. I would be very concerned if I owned that team.
Yeah, that's to me the most alarming part. Again, when he said after the Olympic break, it's going to get tougher, and the guys didn't respond. So how many guys in that room do you want moving forward? Or can you change? If you're a player, can you change? Because it's almost, I don't want to bring Toronto into this, but that mentality of being a champion, that's what it's all about. And you got to hate it so much. You got to hate losing more than you like winning. So do they have the right personnel there? Is Werenski a guy moving forward who's got to be the number one guy here of this team moving forward? Is he the guy you want to be the face of the franchise kind of thing?
Well, for sure. Like, you have to ask all those questions. Yeah. I have a hard time envisioning a scenario where any team in hockey would part ways willingly with a player of Zach Werenski's, pedigree. Like, he's a Norris candidate number one defenseman. So you got to find a way to get him involved. But this doesn't speak well for the leadership qualities of guys like Werenski and Boone Jenner and the guys in that room that are in charge, the guys are in that room that are supposed to see coming what Rick Bowness outlined last night and get ahead of it. And they obviously have done a very poor job there. Like, this is where we return to that word, culture. In dressing rooms that a lot of people poo-poo and say, what's it worth? Well, you're seeing it. It's worth, go to Columbus and you've got the definition of a bad culture. The coach just outlined it. So if you think culture doesn't mean anything, then you tell me why Columbus always looks good for a little part of the season, 2/3 of it, and then falls into the trash can when it counts.
Yeah.
They got major issues there, and they've got a little talent to work with around for sure, but some. I mean, look at Chinikov. What's Chinikov goes to Pittsburgh. Look how good he is. How do you not get the most out of that player?
And I brought this up too, Spec, because just regarding, in the Norris Trophy conversation, it's been Werenski's been there all year. Bouchard hasn't. But Bouchard was really bad for the first 10 games or so. But the last 10 games here, Werenski has not even – he's been a shadow of the player we saw before.
Yep.
So how much does that come into play here? Is that because of the Olympics? Is it he didn't have any gas left? I don't know. What is it?
No, I totally agree. Like, if you're going to punish Bouchard for October after he went to 2 cups in a row and played 48 playoff games the last 2 years, I think you should punish Werenski, who's fresh as a daisy, for not having a good March and April when it really counts. That's a far more important month, March 15 to April 15, than October 7 to November 7 is. I'll tell you that right now. So yes, I mean, this is part of that's why the Norris vote's so tough. There's a sort of a similar thing with Makar. People say, well, I say you got to kill penalties to even be close, to be considered to be a Norris winner. Yeah. And people say, well, look at Makar. He kills a ton of penalties, and they got one of the best PKs in the league. And I'd say to you, okay, now tell me about Makar's power play.
Yeah.
Makar's running a power play down there that's mid-20s, right? So, Bouchard's running a power play that's the best in the league every year. Yeah. So, that's why it's a hard vote. There's a lot of things to consider. I'm not positive,
it's going to be tough.
And the last one I'd say to you is this. It's a bit of a reverse Eastern bias with Bouchard and Werenski, because the number of eyeballs that are on the Edmonton Oilers compared to the number of eyeballs that are on the Columbus Blue Jackets, and then the ensuing highlights on Sportsnet and TSN and places like that, like it's 50 to 1 the people that are watching a mistake that Werenski makes compared to the people watching a mistake Bouchard makes. Everyone's watching Bouchard. And when's the last time you watched Columbus play stem to stern, like in a game?
Yeah. But you see every little clip of Bouchard for sure when he makes a mistake. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Of course you do.
Mark Spectre, Rogers Sportsnet, with us on Sports 1440. We talked about this yesterday morning with Michael Menzies from Oilers Nation, because it was about Chris Pronger, and he had the excerpt out in The Athletic because he's trying to sell some books here, and he dissed Edmonton, and then Kevin Lowe came out yesterday. And I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on this. I thought it was great that Kevin Lowe stood up for our city, as he's done so many times, and kind of said to Chris Pronger, like, why now? What are you doing this? I mean, it's 20 years later, and you're bringing up stuff that's not entirely true. So I thought it was just great. I don't know if you wanted to comment on it at all, Spec.
Well, I was happy to see Kevin Lowe defend his side of things, because I thought Pronger's story made Kevin look like a bumbling GM.
Yeah.
If I'm Kevin Lowe reading Pronger's account that he was drunk when he signed the contract and woke up the next day and realized his wife didn't want to play here and live here and all that. And if I don't think that's true, that doesn't make me look very good. So Kevin is, first of all, is well within his rights to stand up and say, really, because your wife sent me a nice note the next day thanking for the contract and saying, I can't wait to be part of this organization. So, I don't, first of all, it's well within Kevin's right. We all know Kevin Lowe.
Yeah.
He's a fiery guy. I thought that statement was it's almost like he had someone proofread it for him, because the Kevin I know would have written something a lot more off the cuff and harder and tougher and more pointed.
Yeah, he had an editor. Pronger didn't.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So listen, if Pronger stretched the truth or made some stuff up in his book that he wrote about himself, it wouldn't be the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the other day, Melania Trump saying, well, it's a fact that it's in my book. Well, it's your book. It doesn't work that way, right?
Well, even from a business standpoint here, Spec, and you always hear the term follow the money. And if Kevin Lowe is making this trade with St. Louis to get Pronger, and Pronger at that point with his agent and and as he said in his excerpt that was in the Athletic and in the book, that he was mulling over about signing a qualifying offer instead of something long-term. Kevin Lowe's not making a trade, sending all those assets to St. Louis if he's getting him for 1 year here.
Yeah.
It's just, that doesn't make sense.
Listen, I don't buy for a second. I mean, listen, I like Prongs. I'm not here to beat up on Chris Pronger, but listen, he's standing in the ring. So I guess you got to take a punch once in a while. I don't buy for a second, no matter who's telling me this tale, that I negotiated and signed a 5-year contract in a drunken stupor and woke up the next day and figured out that I regretted it. I don't buy it. Right.
Yeah.
I've signed contracts in my life. You've signed them in yours. Chris has signed contracts that are 100 times bigger than anything I'll ever sign. It doesn't work that way. You have an agent involved, you have consultation. Generally, your agent will have the thing lawyered. It doesn't happen in 5 minutes, and it doesn't happen when you're hammered. So the minute I saw it, I thought, there's more to the story. How about that?
Yeah. Mark Spectre with us on Sports 1440. So Pacific last night, I mean, you saw the Vancouver-LA game, I would imagine, Spec. I mean, Vancouver played hard against LA. I mean, the Oilers are going to expect a really hard game on Thursday night tomorrow. But, I mean, if they get 1 point, they've got first round home ice locked up. They still wouldn't know who their opponent is, but it's starting to become a little clearer here in the Pacific.
So, right, exactly. I watched a bunch of stuff last night. I watched the Blue Jays try to close out a game and finally did. That was a little messy, but they got the job done. I watched the end of Anaheim, Minnesota. And then I did watch that Vancouver game, and that's a huge point for LA to lose. And I'll be honest with you, when it was 3-3 in the third period, Vancouver was just sitting back, figuring out how they were going to lose tonight. Like, LA was all over them the whole third period. Vancouver was just chucking the puck out. Vancouver's a brutal team, and they weren't. I don't know how they got that thing to overtime. Once they got in overtime, now you're only playing 7 guys.
The other
who was really good in overtime, and I'll say this, was Elias Pettersson, was excellent in overtime.
That overtime, the worst overtime I've ever seen, Spec, before the goal.
Crappy overtime. Whatever. But the point is, I thought he was good, and he set up the winning play, and Jake chucked it in the net, and good for him. But I mean, Vancouver was ultimate. LA really blew a chance to win a game. They could have scored 3 times in the third period, 1-6-3, the way Vancouver played. Now LA is at everybody's mercy. You know, if Anaheim wins, you know, no matter what LA does, if Anaheim wins their game,
not
and Edmonton wins their game,
not necessarily, because if the Oilers lose to Vancouver in regulation,
oh yeah, and LA wins, sure.
The Oilers.
But if Edmonton and Anaheim win, LA is going to Colorado.
That's right. Yeah,
and it's all because of that point.
Mm-hmm.
If they would have got that extra point, they'd have been in control of Anaheim at least.
That's right.
Right? They'd have been in control not of Edmonton, but of Anaheim. So, you know, the Oilers basically that's how it's going to work here. Edmonton beats Vancouver. They're in second place.
Just 1 point. That's all they need is 1 point.
Sure. They need 1 point. Home ice against Vancouver. If you can't do that, you don't deserve it. That's all there is to it.
I saw a comment from DJ Smith saying, because LA's gone 13-20 past regulation this year, 13-20. And he goes, the good news is, he said last night, the good news is that we have only one more game where we can possibly go to 3-on-3 in a shootout.
Right. Oh my goodness. I don't like LA. Panarin gives them a little more flair. Panarin gives them a little more juice. Like I thought that they attacked off the rush a little more when Panarin's on the ice.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't, you know, this isn't me telling. There's 2 things for me if Edmonton was ever to play LA. I'd like to go back in history and see if anyone ever beat anybody 5 years in a row. Because even just the odds of doing that are stacked against you if you're the Oilers. Like, that's a tough, tall order. But the other thing is, LA doesn't scare me. LA's not that good a team.
No.
You know, and if you can't beat LA, then let's get the sticks out and go to the lake. Like, you know, LA, if you're a team with any designs on a championship, LA should not be a stumbling block for you. They're not that good.
Yeah, and Utah beating Winnipeg last night, that means Utah's locked into wild card 1. They'll play either the Oilers or Vegas. So if Vegas loses tonight, Spec, in regulation, the Oilers have a chance at first place in the Pacific still.
Yeah, that's at Seattle at Vegas tonight.
Seattle at Vegas tonight, or is it Vegas? Seattle and Vegas, the Duke says so.
Yeah. So
I mean, you think Vegas is going to get a point there, and
give Kelly McCrimmon some credit. He made that coaching change, and we all said, wow, that's a strange time to make a coaching change. I don't think Torts lost a game yet.
They lost the 1, I think.
Or did they lose 1?
Okay. Overtime.
Right. So in regulation then. And good for, I mean, smart play. They've who's, you know, first place is in the palm of their hand.
Yeah. And
good for Vegas. And I think they'll beat Utah, my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's see what happens. Maybe, you know, we'll see where we go for round 2. But I'm personally, and as I'm invested as much as I get invested, I'm very much hoping that it's Edmonton Anaheim and not Edmonton LA. I think we've all watched the LA movie enough times. Win, lose, or draw. It's boring playing LA. They play a boring style. You know, 2 weeks of boring hockey is not something I look forward to. I think Anaheim would be fun. There'd be some goals. There'd be some skating. There wouldn't be one team backing up at center ice. Let's go. I much prefer an Anaheim Oilers series.
Good stuff, Spec. We'll see you in the next couple days or something. I don't know.
You coming to the rink today or what?
Well, no. By the time I get there, they're gone.
I think it's 11 o'clock skate. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably get there by 11:30. I mean, the practices are so short now, right?
They are.
Yeah. Whatever.
All right, brother. Have a great week. Don't don't take your winter tires off yet, eh?
No kidding. It's awful. Unbelievable. Thanks, Spec. Mark Spectre from Rogers Sportsnet. On the Mark, brought to you powered by Northgate Chevrolet. This truck's for you when we come back. Rob Longley from the Toronto Sun covers the Toronto Blue Jays' massive win last night. Come from behind, and then it's tied, and they have a big 10th inning. That's right after the break. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. I've got some good news. If you've been thinking about a heavy-duty truck, The 2026 Ram 2500 Black Express is now at St. Albert Dodge. You've got 20-inch black aluminum wheels, black Mopar side steps, body color, bumpers and grille, and a sport performance hood. Available in all the colors for $68,990. Plus, new this year, Ram's best-in-class 10-year powertrain warranty. Now's the time. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Great news for your weekend project. CFI, that's Custom Floors Inc., is now open 6 days a week with Saturday hours from 10 till 2. Get top-quality Canadian products from Beaulieu with the convenience you need. For your free estimate, visit CFI at customfloorsinc.ca.
Do you have neck or back pain? Ever go for treatment hoping for a simple fix only to realize your stubborn spine is basically a science project with attitude? Hey, we get it. And honestly, we're a little sorry because great rehab does take proper experimenting. But at Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we don't just toss exercises into the beaker and hope it doesn't explode. We start with the right diagnosis, then mix hands-on care, precise manual therapy, and evidence-based technology. The formula your body actually needs. Science and skill with gratitude, not attitude. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
I'm good to go. With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. MortgagesToGo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say, I'm good to go.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, Jersey barriers and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned, over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
River Cree is the place for all your favorite sports. River Cree Resort and Casino, featuring UFC action and boxing live on the big screens at Tap 25, the MVP of sports bars, and in the center bar. Plus, catch all the biggest games, every goal, every slam dunk. River Cree is also home to the Twin Rinks, where rec hockey and community teams come to play. Public skating available. Details at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 8:21 in Edmonton, and time now for the headliner of the day, brought to you by Mr. Rooter Plumbing, draining clogged pipes like three-pointers. For all your plumbing needs, go to mrrooter.ca as we welcome in Rob Longley from the Toronto Sun, covers the Toronto Blue Jays. Good morning, Rob. You're with Kevin Karius. Thanks for jumping on Sports 1440 this morning. Really appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure, Kevin. How are things out there today?
We're looking forward to a bit of a playoff run hockey-wise here. And to be honest with you, we got so many baseball fans out here, Rob. We're looking forward to, the Edmonton Riverhawks getting going in one of the best River Valley parks going. It's a beautiful ballpark here. I think you've been here, Rob, so it's fun to watch ball. We're looking forward to that as well.
Great. Yeah, it's, it's baseball season in Toronto, that's for sure. After tonight, it's a lot of attention is going to swing over to the baseball team now that the hockey team is mercifully done in the city for this year.
Exactly. Hey, what a game last night. And I mean, you've been covering this team for a long time, Rob. And last year you saw how scrappy and how much they fought and, clawed to get so many wins. And we saw that last night. Maybe just speak to the importance of this first game of a 9-game road trip here.
Yeah, it seems kind of crazy to suggest that Game 16 is an important win, but it really felt like that for the Blue Jays last night. I mean, they had been scuffling to that point. day one of a 9 games in 9 nights road trip and 22 games in 23 days. A game that was, essentially lost for them. The bats were dormant, as they always seem to be when Kevin Gausman starts. And then they win it in the way they won so many games last year, as you suggested, Kevin. A 3-run rally in the 9th and a 3-run rally in the 10th inning. And you could just sort of see through the television screen how the emotions that the Blue Jays felt in winning a game in that fashion. There were concerns throughout the game. Kevin Gausman wasn't at his best. The bats, like I said, didn't do much until late in the game. And what about closer Jeff Hoffman? I've had my friend groups this morning have been blowing my messages up by saying you got to get this guy out as closer. Yet they found a way to win a game. And as you said, that's what they did so often last year. So a positive sign for them in a season that really hasn't had a whole lot of positives just yet.
Yeah, are your friends saying that about Jeff Hoffman only because, or one of the reasons because Louis Varland's been so good here, Rob?
That's a lot of it, right? People think that how could you not go to Louis Varland right now? And there is some merit in that. I mean, he's been a beast whenever he's gone out there. That strikeout he had in the 9th inning to get Hoffman out of the jam was vintage closer material. The guy, from my experience being around him, has that real sort of killer attitude that you have to have if you're a closer. And he's been money for them so far this year. Now, having said that, I don't know that you rush to make that change just yet. And I'm pretty sure the way that the Blue Jays conduct themselves, they won't do that. I mean, people forget that Jeff Hoffman was really, really good in September and outstanding in the playoffs, but for one very dramatic inning that sort of cost them the World Series in a lot of ways. But they have faith in him. Now, having said that, my guess is that they're not going to say it's closer by committee, but I wouldn't be surprised if functionally it is closer by committee for the next little while. They know that they can trust Louis Varland in those situations. They still believe to a certain extent that Jeff Hoffman can do it, but he's got a shorter leash right now, or he should have one, because you can't afford to have games like, imagine if the game didn't turn out the way that it did. If the Jays had made that big rally in the 9th inning and then blown it in the bottom of the 9th, that would have felt like a devastating loss, even though it's early in the season. So to me, it's going to be very fascinating to see how they handle the closer position going forward. And yes, Louis Varland is certainly showing the signs of being a potential guy that could fit that job.
Yeah. Rob Longley with us on the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440. You mentioned that 9th inning mile straw was key. Vladimir Guerrero, couldn't hit a ball harder. Do you see Vladdy starting to come around a little bit here, Rob?
A little bit. I mean, it's funny. He's hitting for average. He's well over 300 in terms of average. And, he's starting to hit the ball a little bit harder, a little bit more elevation on that one, and it's out of the ballpark. And in that regard, it's sort of reminiscent of last year. He was hitting the ball hard through much of the season. He just wasn't getting the results for it. And I think part of that has to do with physically not getting the ball high enough in the air. It's something that he did do in the postseason, and he did do in the World Baseball Classic earlier this spring, but hasn't done a whole lot of yet this season. And with a team that's missing Alejandro Kirk gravely and missing George Springer, they're really going to have some guy carry the offense. Dalton Varsho's done a little bit of that over the last 4 days, but the guy who really has to do it is Vlad Guerrero Jr. And it's funny. As I was putting together my game report last night, there's so many things that you could write about regarding that game, and it's almost forgotten that big double that Vlad hit in the 10th inning, and it was probably his biggest hit of the season so far. So they certainly need more of that, and if he can get hot, now would be the time for them to really be able to take advantage of it.
The Toronto Sun's Rob Longley with us on Sports 1440, the Kevin Karius Show. It's 8:27 here in Edmonton. In all your years covering, and you mentioned a couple of the injuries, have you ever seen this team, both offensively now and with the pitching staff, been decimated by injuries like this, Rob?
I've seen it mid-season when pitching gets worn down, and then you have the wear and tear of hitters playing through things. But I don't think I've seen this many players head to the injury list this early in the season, and dramatically so, like key players. As I mentioned, Springer and Kirk. Kirk is going to be a huge loss for them, and it could be as long as 2 months, depending on how that thumb heals. And then starting the season, if we were having this discussion a month and a half ago, we'd be talking about what are they going to do with 8 starters. Now they barely have 4. So yeah, it's to their credit, Kevin, they haven't really used it as an excuse. And this team had one of those flu bugs that swept through the clubhouse in the first week of the season. They haven't really used it as an excuse where they probably could have. But yeah, it's borderline decimation right now. At least there's some good news in the immediate future on the pitching side. It sounds like Trey Savage could be with the team by the end of this road trip, depending on how he does. He's pitching a AAA game down in Rochester today, and if he does well there, I could see him, being back in the rotation as early as next week. And Jose Barrios isn't too far behind him either. But in a season where there's such great expectations, and then you start the season with your first 9 games against serious lightweights in Major League Baseball, and then to be hit by injuries like this, it's just like a lot of things have gone wrong for them. The only thing that really has gone right, it seems, is that nobody else in the American League East is playing particularly well at this point.
Yeah, that's for sure. And no one's running away with it, which is it's a good thing at this stage of the season. When you mentioned Yasevich there, and again, he's gonna pitch today with Buffalo. Like how cautious are they going to be with this guy moving forward here, Rob? Because obviously he's one of their prized arms in the organization.
Yeah, I think they'll be extremely cautious with him. They've already shown that this spring, right? When he was having a little bit of pain in his right shoulder, they backed off on him, and I think that was the smart thing to do. They certainly managed his workload last year as he moved through all 5 ranks of the minor league system and onto the big leagues, and they'll do a little bit of that again this year. I think the bigger question with Trey Savage, and I'm not suggesting that this could be the case, but you never know what's going to happen when a guy comes back in his sophomore season. Everything was such a whirlwind for him last year, and he truly was spectacular. But now he's got to back it up. He probably has more pressure on him than he's ever had. I mean, through every promotion that he had last year, it was all just, like I said, a whirlwind for him. He met each challenge often in spectacular fashion. And then he got called up to the big leagues in September, and he just kept riding that train. And he was such a great story, and he performed so well for them throughout the playoffs. Now he's got to back it up. Now, I happen to think that he has the disposition to handle that, and he certainly has the stuff, as the pitching coaches like to say. But it's a matter of getting out there and doing it. And to your point, I think they're going to manage him as carefully as they possibly can to make sure that he's given every opportunity to succeed and what will still qualify as a rookie season. I mean, a lot of people thought going into the year that he was the leading candidate for American League Rookie of the Year. So we shall see.
Rob Longley from the Toronto Center, guest on the Kevin Karius Show here in Sports 1440. Andre Jimenez hit another home run last night. He's got 3, tied with the team lead with the Dalton Varsho, who you said, Rob, is coming on here a little bit. So question for you, would John Schneider ever entertain the thought, with George Springer out here for at least a month, I would think, would he ever entertain Jimenez going to the top of the order, or does he like the fact that he's turning the bottom of the order over for the guys up front right now?
I think so far it's the latter. I mean, he has liked Jimenez at the bottom of the order. He's a good on base guy. When he's going, he can get on base, has a bit of speed on there too. So he is a good guy to turn it over to the top. And I think right now they kind of like what Ernie Clement is doing at the top of the order. And why not? Because he's hitting for average, and he too can get on base and run the bases. But at least they know that if it suddenly cools off at the top right now, they've got a guy that they could easily put up there. And Jimenez, it's been a really great start for him. He's sort of fed off of winning the WBC with Venezuela, and has carried that offensive performance into the regular season. And this from a guy where when the Jays acquired him, it was felt that it was defense first, and that any form of offense that he might provide would be a bonus. And so far so good in that department, because he's providing them with much more offense than many would have anticipated.
Mm-hmm. How much play do you think Eloy Jimenez is going to get here after the injuries to Springer? I know Barger's closer to coming back, but how much runway do you think Jimenez has here after the call up?
I think until healthy bodies return, Kevin, that he's going to stay right there in sort of the bottom middle of that order. And he too has performed okay. He's flashed some of that power. You'd like to see him be a little bit more consistent at the plate, but with guys like that, if you give them the runway, then you get a better idea of what you actually have with them and see how he responds. And if he takes advantage of the opportunity, then it gives the Jays an option later in the season for maybe a bench guy once Springer and Kirk and Barger return to the lineup. So yeah, it's opportunities for a guy you wouldn't have. I think we expected that he would get an opportunity at some point this season. We might not have expected that it would be in the middle of April.
Gosh, if he could get back to where he was in 2019, Rob, when he was a rookie and had 31 dingers, if he gets to half of that, the Jays would be ecstatic.
Yeah, because he can hit for power, and this team needs power. They're looking for ways to fill in what they've lost with Bo Bichette, and just as recently as 2 years ago, this team was a explosive power offense, and now not so much.
Yeah. What's your concern level, Rob, with Max Scherzer here? We're going to see him once the Jays get to Arizona, and he'll pitch against a team and in a place where he had really good success, but it's been a tough go here the last couple starts. Your thoughts on Mad Max?
Yeah, I think concern has to be fairly high, right? I mean, he's dealing with a 41-year-old arm that after the All-Star break will be a 42-year-old right arm. And, he hasn't looked too good. His first start was okay. His first start was better than okay. It was good. But after that second start, when he lasted just 2 innings and they came out afterwards and said it was forearm tendonitis, I think you just ignore the second word of that diagnosis. And when you hear forearm in any sort of analysis of a performance, you get very, very concerned, especially given his age. So he came back out with another start on the weekend. Claimed that he was feeling great. The team said that he was feeling great. There was no issues with the arm. Well, his velocity was still off a little bit, and he couldn't find the strike zone. So was that just an off day for Max Scherzer, or are there lingering issues with that forearm? A forearm is a dastardly word in baseball, as you know, Kevin. So yes, a lot of attention when he makes that next start in Arizona later in the road trip.
What do you make of today's Dylan Cease? Chad Patrick for Milwaukee's sneaky good. He's one of those guys that flies under the radar. Not a lot of people know much about him, but he can throw the ball well. But what do you make of this matchup today for the Jays?
Yeah, I think it's another tall order. I mean, the Brewers lost 6 in a row right now, and they don't scream as a team that's going to do that. I mean, they're banged up as well, much like the Blue Jays are. And the Blue Jays need a deep start from Dylan Cease. They cycled through that bullpen pretty bad last night. And, once as we've seen, Kevin, in the first couple of weeks of the season, once you get past the first 2 spots in the starting rotation, trouble ensues. Like it turns over to Patrick Corbin and Eric Lauer and old Max Scherzer. So the opportunity for them to win their first series since the opening series of the season, at least they've got Dylan Cease on the mound. But yeah, you're right. They're facing a crafty veteran themselves, and maybe they can summon some momentum from last night, but the offense doesn't inspire a whole lot of offense other than what they showed in the 9th and 10th innings.
Yeah, really good point. Maybe you carry over a little momentum from last night and you have a feel-good win, and you never know. And as you said, Milwaukee's banged up too with guys like Yelich and Churio's on the IR, and so is Priester, the good pitcher. So they got some holes in the roster there too. So, hey, Rob, thanks so much for your time. Thanks for the great insight. Great coverage by the Jays, or for the Jays, for so many years. Appreciate you coming on, and we'll talk soon. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, appreciate it, Kevin. Thank you.
That's Rob Longley, Toronto Sun's been covering the Toronto Blue Jays for a long time. And our headliner of the day, brought to you by Mr. Rooter Plumbing, knocking your plumbing problems out of the park. That's mrrooter.ca. When we come back, we might have a stirring rendition of Cam and Eggs. I didn't see this one come in, Duke. Did it come in late last night? Or
came in while you were on with Rob there.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Tater pushing the envelope.
I said to him the other night, I said, hey, what's going on? Like, these are getting later and later. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
Never mind. Well, you're still getting them, aren't you?
Well, because I mentioned this previously too the other day when all of a sudden we didn't have it when it was scheduled to play. Yeah. We played it at the end of the show. Cam had asked me a while back. He's like, well, what time do you think they'll normally play? And I said, well, probably the back half of the show most days after 9 o'clock. And then I followed up with him later saying, well, Wednesdays when Schlemmer gets in, we'll probably play it at 8:40. And he says, well, because, I'm up at 7. So I can probably do them in the morning rather than the night previous. I was like, whatever you want to do, Cam, as long as they're in my inbox,
That's right.
We'll get them fired across. And then Connor mentioned it when he was on yesterday. Cam didn't get him the 2-minute warning in time on Monday's show. So they didn't play it. But yeah, we got it locked and loaded for Tater this morning, ready to go with the clean dozen edition of Cam and A.
That's great. I should mention too, with baseball today, it's Jackie Robinson Day. So, every April 15th. And you think about that's when we've been playing for 3 weeks here. And that's when baseball used to start, middle of April. So anyway, Jackie Robinson Day. And that's why there's some games coming up like pretty early, like even 10:30, I believe there's a game starting our time, Baltimore and Arizona. I think that's the first one. But so anyway, because of Jackie Robinson Day, and all the players will be wearing 42. And I always remember the line from you've seen the movie 42, Duke? Yeah. So it's Pee Wee Reese comes over to Jackie Robinson at first base, because that's where he was playing, and something to the effect of, someday maybe we'll all be wearing number 42, so it was about no one will know you don't recognize the player by the color of his skin or anything like that. It's just, we'll all be kind of the same, equal, et cetera, et cetera. So when we come back, we'll do a little Cam and Ager with Cam Tate. It's Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne. Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Do you work for a company that wants to reach people who love sports? Or maybe you're looking to hire people who love sports? Sports 1440 partners with dozens of local businesses, connecting with tens of thousands of Edmonton sports fans every day. On the radio, on the listening apps, on YouTube, and on social media. Contact our sales team today to see what Sports 1440 can do for you. Email Gregor at sports1440.ca to get started.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
What if you could hire motivated, safety-trained youth with no risk and funding to support you? At Careers The Next Generation, we make hiring easy with funded internships across Alberta in trades, IT, forestry, and more. Interns are WCB covered, complete high school accredited safety trained, and arrive ready to contribute from day one. With 42% of RAP students completing their apprenticeship by age 22, you get skilled workers faster. Spots are filling up. Visit careersnextgen.ca today.
Nothing beats getting a deal at McDonald's. Why? Because you get a deal now.
And a deal later.
Redeem an offer from the latest mailer or on the McDonald's app and dig into instant savings. Plus, you earn points towards
free McDonald's.
Now that's what I call
a double whammy of deals.
Why does that keep happening? Deals sent right to your door. Check your mailbox for the latest McDonald's mailer loaded with delicious value. For a limited time at participating restaurants in Western Canada.
Summer, it's coming. An unstoppable force that will turn your home into the Sweatbox.
Don't live in a summer blockbuster. Pro Solutions is your one-call-solves-it-all expert for AC repairs, tune-ups, and new installations. With fast appointments and flexible financing, we'll make sure your home story has a comfortable ending. AC season is coming soon, so book today.
Lock in pre-season pricing today.
Visit ProSolutionsInc.ca to schedule your service today.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Fast track your financial goals with a special rate term deposit from Vision Credit Union. For a limited time, take advantage of a great rate on 1, 3, or 5-year terms. Plus, as a Vision Credit Union member, you can earn up to 25% more on your interest through profit shares. For details, contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca. That's visioncu.ca.
Why pay dealership prices when you can get the same quality for less? Hi, it's Lisa, and here at Ed's Auto Salvage, we've been Alberta's trusted source for used auto parts for nearly 50 years. From engines to mirrors, transmissions to tires, we've got it all at prices guaranteed to keep your wallet happy. Shop local, shop smart. Shop Ed's Auto Salvage in Westlock. Be sure to visit us online at edsautosalvage.com and get your vehicle back on the road for less.
You're listening to Sports 1440 and watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Sports 24/7. We are Sports 1440.
Hey, welcome back to the big program. Text 833-401-1440. My buddy Kenneth texts in and says, early games every Wednesday. It's a travel day. Come on, Kevin. Well, does April 15th fall on a Wednesday every time? Come on, Kenneth. It doesn't fall on a Wednesday every time. I get it that it's getaway day. But when it is April 15th on a Monday or a Tuesday or a Friday, since they started having Jackie Robinson Day, they have games early in the morning. Is this one of your guys' burner account from Daryl? KK, you do such a great job. Your sports knowledge is so extensive for many years.
Kevin, why would that be one of our burner accounts?
Well,
that's one of you.
Yeah.
That's maybe that's Laura's.
Yeah.
That's Laura's
No,
burner.
no.
She listens and just needs to give you a little pick me up in the morning after Kenneth's being mean to you.
Duke, Darren says, what's the matter with iHeart? No more iHeart? What's going on there?
Not that I'm aware of.
We'll check that out. We'll figure that out for you, Darren. Kent McKenzie says, hey, KK, have you ever seen the 30 for 30 about the people who started rotisserie baseball? Excellent watch. Didn't realize the nuance of how fantasy baseball started. I have seen it. I've probably watched it 6-7 times, Kent, because I'm a big roto guy, a big fantasy baseball guy. And when these guys started it, it was unbelievable. The amount of work that they had to do just for stats. That's the number one thing. So, they would compile the stats all the time. Every day you'd go to the box score and you'd pick your guys. And usually back then what happened was you would grab, you would do your own stats, and then you would do an opponent, like another guy in your league stats, and then, flip it around a little bit, because some guys would say, well, he's padding his own stats, cheating, whatever. So you had the compilation of both guys. But how it worked were these guys sitting around the tables, and these are all big baseball guys that are, some of them, a lot of them are writers, but they wanted to get this going, and how they invented just even the categories, and, to come up with whip, walks, and hits versus innings pitched, and all these categories to come in for. And Roto used to be, a lot of it was just 4x4. The 5x5 leagues came in later. So MTR has to pipe in. Duke. KK's just average. Well, I like Daryl. I like Daryl a lot more than MTR. I assume MTR is having a better week in fantasy baseball in our league, but hard to tell. It's hard to tell. Hey, let's do another edition of Cam Tate's Cam and Eggs. We've been doing this for a few weeks now, and it's a lot of fun. Cam comes up with great topics every day, and as we get ready and closer to the end of the regular season, it's going to heat up even more. But here's another edition of Cam and Eggs.
Welcome to Cam and Eggs, order number 12, an even dozen. This morning's question, something to do or something to excel at. Again there, Duke. Something to do or something to excel at. Here we go. With new medical technology in the 1940s, people with disabilities were, in fact, living longer following World War II. Dating back to 1946, hospitals in California and Birmingham, England, introduced wheelchair basketball as a form of rehabilitation. It was simply recreational. No crosstown rivals, no national championships, red versus blue. If, of course, the t-shirts were around the gym and not in the hospital's laundry. Then, in 1948, to answer the demand by its players to travel to play wheelchair basketball across the states, the National Wheelchair Basketball Association rolled out. Then, the Vietnam War. Over 23,000 veterans came back to the U.S. permanently disabled in the 1970s. That sparked the growth of the NWBA, and Edmonton became the third Canadian city to have a team in 1976. The Alberta Northern Lights had great success, including being the first Canadian team to win an NWBA championship in 2005. The Northern Lights are celebrating 50 years this weekend by hosting the Canadian Wheelchair Basketball Finals with 22 teams. Friday through Sunday, Seville Centre, Sports 1440 is proud sponsor. This hits close to home. I began my sports writing career covering the Lights in 1979 for the Edmonton Journal, and at the age of 21 was traveling all over North America. Between now and Friday, I'm going to roll down memory lane and share the stories that I can about wheelchair basketball. So ask yourself again, is wheelchair basketball something to do or something to excel at? Cam and Eggs, Sports 1440.
Thanks, Caminator. And should mention, just to circle back again, at Sports 1440 proudly presents the 2026 Canadian Wheelchair Basketball League Finals. It starts on Friday. It's at the Saville Community Sports Center. 22 teams from across Canada will be competing for the national championship. It's hosted by Wheelchair Sports Alberta. You can watch. It's free. Go down, watch it. You'll be inspired by these for sure. It is a lot of fun, and check it out if you want. Tiger takes in, hey, Duke, I don't know how you do it every day. 5 topics of in or out. The con man has 5 picks with Gregor. Cam and Eggs every day. What do Gregor and Karius even do? Look at that.
I wonder that even myself sometimes. Listen, in or out, and Connor has admitted this to both myself and I think on air as well, with 5 questions with Greg every day. Listen, they're not all home runs. When you got to pump out 5 every single day, sometimes there's just you take your walk or a fly out shallow left field. Donovan Paulson, who has spent the most time of the current, and I think Declan falls in this camp too, and he fills in for Connor or otherwise. They say that that's the hardest part of the job when they're filling in on the full time producing for the 4-hour show. They think coming up with those topics for just a week is the hardest part of the job. Not booking guests, not doing this or that or anything else. It's coming up with those. So thanks, Tiger.
Oh, attaboy. Well, I don't know if I owe Kenneth an apology because we have to do some information check on this. He says, sorry, Kevin. Jackie Robinson Day last year on Tuesday featured 0 day games. Please give me an apology on air. The Wednesday day games have nothing to do with Jackie. Do you think that's possible? Do you think Kenneth has sniffed this out?
Is it possible?
I understand, Kenneth, that yes, Wednesday is getaway day. I got that. But I know I've watched Jackie Robinson Day and watched early games. Maybe last year was one of the days that there weren't, but I can guarantee you over the years since it's been happening. Montana, yeah, I get it. Yeah, pretty simple. Just look it up. But there have been days when it hasn't been on a Wednesday, and there have been day games. I know that. Has to be. Text 833-401-1440. Northside Lou says this. Hey, Kiki, I was just reading the article in The Athletic about the stuff that came out about the Leafs, all the fan access stuff that they're charging for is true. Yes, we confirm that. And because Northside Lou, you are correct that when we talked about this, it came out on April 1st. And my original thought process on that article was that, is this an April Fool's joke? Charging kids $1,000 to be on the ice for to be the flag, carry the flag, and stand on the blue line. Man. And that's just not the only thing. There were tons and tons. So I think this is another article. This is a separate article, Northside Lou. It's a follow-up from the one that would have happened, 2 weeks ago. So, and that is a toxic organization right now. They got a lot to fix. Do they not have a lot to fix in Toronto? Matt Leduc says, I'm guessing it happens over the years every time it falls on Wednesday. Well, thank you very much, Matt. Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine. Did you do some fact checking there, Fanny? He's checking right now. See, it's not very simple, is it, MTR? Even Josh Fenwick can't do it just like that. He can't. You don't just punch it in, man.
Well, yeah. So you Google it, and you can't really do that. So I'm on Baseball Reference right now looking at all the local start times for the games on April 15th, Jackie Robinson Day from last year. I have not seen anything that it was earlier than 6:40 p.m. local time.
Okay. Well, that's fair.
But I'll keep checking to see if you're right.
Maybe that's a separate rule where the MLB says no day games on Tuesdays, no matter what.
It's a possibility.
Everything's on the table right now, Kevin.
It's a possibility. Nail says, hey, KK, just hug that fella really tight around the neck. Yeah, me and my buddy Kenny. Wow, Kevin is wrong from MTR. Take your medicine. I said I was wrong. But there's no possible way that in the course since Jackie Robinson Day has happened, that there have not been day games other than Wednesday. Text 833-401-1440. Coming up at the top of the hour. David Schlemco, soon to be arriving in the Sports 1440 studios here at West Edmonton Mall. We've got Owen Newkerk from DLLS Sports, covers the Stars. Lots of injury news surrounding the Stars moving into the playoffs. We've got Landon Ferraro from Sports 1440, our pre- and post-game analyst as well. Before all that, time now for a Sports 1440 update. Brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you are thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly at 780-265-0165. That's 780-265-0165. Here is the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Nine-game slate across the NHL last night, including some final seeding results for the Eastern Conference playoff picture. The Bruins cinch up wildcard spot number one with a 4-0 blanking of the New Jersey Devils. Flyers top the Habs 4-2. Wild beat the Ducks 3-2. The Mammoth clinch number one wildcard seed in the West with a 5-3 win over Winnipeg. Avalanche top the Flames 3-1. Penguins fall to the Blues 7-5. And the Canucks, they get past the Kings 4-3 in overtime. In the association playoff play-in tournament beginning, Charlotte ekes one out 127-126 in overtime over Miami. LaMelo Ball, 30 points, including the game-winning shot with under 5 seconds to go. Charlotte will now take on the loser of tonight's Orlando and Philly game for a chance at the 8th seed. Out west, Portland beating Phoenix 114-110. Denny Adiba with 41 points. Portland, with the win, clinches the 7th seed in the Western Conference. Phoenix will play the winner of tonight's Golden State and Clippers game for the 8th seed. And over in the majors, the Blue Jays comeback fashion top the Brewers 9-7 in extra innings, hitting home runs in the victory, both Andre Jimenez and Dalton Varsho. Around the rest of the majors, Arizona beat Baltimore 4-3. Cubbies beat up on the Phillies 10-4. Yankees fall to the Angels 7-1. Boston blanked by Minnesota 6-0. And in San Diego, Padres take it 4-1 over the Seattle Mariners. Coming up in hour 3 of the Kevin Karius Show, we'll be joined by Owen Newkerk from DLLS Sports in Texas, covering the Dallas Stars, and our Wednesday co-host, former NHL defenseman David Schlemco. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Would you like to be a part of history for the month of April? I'm kidding. Or as the kids say, bro,
I'm joking. Would you like to help us set a record in April? Chill. Still kidding. At Northgate, we aren't trying to set any records or tell you how many vehicles we sell, and we really don't think you'd care. But what you will care about is this. Every dealer has the same costs. Trust me. GM does not have a favorite kid. You get to decide where you buy. 0% financing, a great selection, and of course, great people. Stop in and see us today. 13215 97th Street or business online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
At GS Construction, we're multitaskers. We've got lots of projects going on all around Edmonton and area. Different teams across the city working towards the same outcome. Installing today what will serve generations to come. It's a rewarding career and the work never stops. That's why GS Construction is always on the lookout for great people to join us. Right now, we're looking for experienced topmen, pipe layers, operators, and surveyors. So if you want to feel valued, empowered, and engaged in your work, visit gsconstruction.ca today.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster Juice is going bananas for hazelnuts.
I mean, there are bananas in smoothies, but that's not the point.
Banana juice is booster for hazelnuts.
What? Just stop.
Booster Juice is going nuts for hazelnut. Introducing the Nutty Monkey Smoothie, Holy Hazelnut Acai Bowl, and Nutty Booster Ball, all made with rich, creamy hazelnut spread. Try them today, only at Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocentre.com today.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth, fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text VALUE to 780-777-7777 to start. That's VALUE to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
Debt can take over your life. The stress, the constant worry, it can feel like you're drowning. When people come to see me, they're often anxious and feeling hopeless. But when I explain how I can help them get out of debt, those feelings melt away. I'm Parveen Middleton, licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I will create a personalized debt relief plan so you can move forward with confidence. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to discover your debt-free future.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 9:02 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, the Duke of Delburne, and Josh Fenwick with you here on a Wednesday morning. So glad you're with us for hour number 3 here on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, and Instagram as well. And you know what's Wednesday? That means it's time to welcome in our co-host for Cougar Paint and Collision, David Schlemco, powered by Cougar Paint and Collision, where family service and pride have earned customer trust for decades. Check them out at cougarcollision.com as we welcome in David Schlemco. Good morning, Schlemmer. How was the week, big guy?
Morning, KK. Pretty good, buddy. Can't complain.
A lot of indoor golf, no outdoor golf here yet.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't hit the sim since I went to Palm Springs. It just seems kind of depressing now, especially when you look out the window and you realize, like, oh man, we're not even really that close.
Like you just had the real thing. You had the real thing, and you want to go back to what you did all winter.
Yeah,
that's
just a
the thing.
Teaser.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Did you watch a lot of the Masters?
I watched it all. Yeah, I think I missed like an hour.
And that's crazy because it's starting at noon. And you can watch 7-8 hours of even it starts before noon technically. We're watching at 8 o'clock in the morning here, but the real broadcasters come in there's the feature groups and things like that from 8 till 12 or whatever it is, but.
Yeah, you catch a little bit of that. You can have it on and not really watch it, but like once the real coverage starts, I'm dialed in.
And especially then, on the weekend too, once the field gets pared down and now who's in and whatever, and guys still trying to make a run. And I mean, Scheffler made an amazing run.
It sure was.
I mean, just ran out of holes.
I mean, if that putt drops on 17, he's into a playoff.
Well, and what it does is it even puts more heat on Rory because he's still coming.
He's got to make par.
Well, he's looking.
Makes the finish a little more exciting.
He's looking over your shoulder, and some people think that the casual golf watchers think, it doesn't affect. If some guy birdies and it pops up on the leaderboard, it matters.
Oh yeah,
these guys, all of a sudden the old sphincter tightens up even more. So, man.
Yeah,
and that's all sports, man.
That second shot over the trees, and you're thinking about it a little bit more when you got to make par.
You mean?
Yeah.
Well, I finally saw the shot. I saw a video of it because there was no video of it. I saw it yesterday, some angle.
Yeah, you didn't know where either ball ended up on 18. That was tough camera work. There's a little bit of that actually throughout the weekend.
A lot of people were talking about it. I mean, live broadcasting of sports is so hard to do. I mean, CBS has done a remarkable job with the Masters for many, many years, but they've been taking a lot of heat since Monday.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The broadcast, choice of shots, as you say, following of shots with certain camera and camera angles, just from a broadcast perspective.
Okay.
And when you, what happens is, let's just say the Super Bowl. So on a Monday, what'll happen, there'll be like a reviewer. It's just like a movie.
Yeah.
So someone will review the quality of the broadcast.
Okay.
Say for Super Bowl I mean, hey, we get it here all the time with Oiler broadcasts and stuff. So people, they analyze and then they'll say, well, this was good. That was bad. I like this. I like that play-by-play guy. I'd like this color guy.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, I'm in with the critics on this one. Mm-hmm. I think ESPN's got to get the hell out of there. It's like, sorry, this is the Masters, man. We don't need Jason Kelsey and his boys jumping in a pond. Keep that for the waste management.
I totally agree. We said that on Monday. I just have no time for that. They're trying to, they think that they're drawing more people to it or a different audience. Well, I don't care about that. I want to see what it's all about. I mean, I'm happy with every broadcast in years past that didn't have those yo-yos at the par 3 and all that.
Yeah.
I would not have them back next year.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Keep it classic.
Mm-hmm. Well, here we are in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Almost. We got a few more days and a few more games of the regular season here, but all the teams out east are decided, and the playoff partners, the dance partners. Pacific Division here still
pretty crazy,
it
man.
Is, isn't it? Eh?
It's exciting. I mean, a lot could happen still.
Well, there is a lot. I mean, the Oilers technically, if they can just get it to overtime against Vancouver tomorrow, they've got second place in the division locked up. It's that simple. If Vegas loses tonight in regulation to Seattle, then the Oilers have an opportunity for first in the Pacific.
My opinion, obviously, is that Anaheim is the best round one opponent. I don't think there's an argument there. But I do think that finishing second, I like an Anaheim and a Vegas matchup to get to the conference final a lot more than especially facing Utah in the first round. I like the way Utah is playing right now.
So I've got it ranked. The best opponent is Anaheim. To me, second best is Utah. Third is LA. And fourth is Vegas.
Yeah, I hard to argue with that. I do think, and I heard Spec say it on the way in, it's hard to knock a team out 5 years in a row, if that's ever even been done.
Just think about how different the teams are year to year. It's such a different, the Oiler goaltenders from 5 years ago. That's a long time ago.
Yep.
We're looking at Talbots and things like that. And back then it was Jonathan Quick, so to where everything is now, I just don't think that 5 years in a row thing, I don't think it holds a lot of water, to be honest with you.
No, I mean, personally, I just don't want to watch it again.
Hey, the way the Kings are, besides the 1-0 game with the Oilers, they've been opening it up here a bit.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to watch that again. And I really think that Utah could surprise some people.
Okay. I laughed at DJ Smith. Did you ever come across DJ?
No, never had him.
Okay. Because he's been everywhere too. So.
Yeah, yes. What do you mean too?
Everywhere too. Well, but he had the great comment after last night's game because LA loses 4-3 in overtime to Vancouver. So LA went 13-20 this year in games past regulation. So 33 of their games went to overtime / shootouts. And he just said last night, he goes, well, we have one more game left this year that we know could possibly go to 3-on-3 or a shootout. After that, there's no more. We're going to go into the playoffs, and it's going to be 5-on-5 in overtime until someone scores. So we know we're not playing 3-on-3, except for one more possible game. So,
not their forte.
I don't know what it is. And I mean, well,
it becomes a mental thing after so long, too,
that I don't know. That I watched the overtime winner last night when Jake DeBrusk scored, and man, he's got his hands down. He's basically got a mini stick. His hands are down well below the shaft because it was a pass from Pedersen that came in across the crease.
Yeah.
But if you ever get a chance, watch Drew Doughty on that play. You'll go, well, he might as well not even been on the ice. Like that's how he played that.
Really?
He might as well not even been on the ice. It was almost
Drew Doughty.
Yeah, Drew Doughty. It was almost like he was thinking Kemper was in goal. It was almost like he was thinking Kemper was going to make the save, stick handle the puck in the crease, and pass it up to Doughty heading out on a breakaway.
Really?
Yeah. It's quite humorous. Quite humorous. Anyway, so we just got a text right here. RBS says, I don't get the fear of Utah. Maybe in the regular season, but in the playoffs when things tighten up and are way more aggressive, I take the Oilers against them all day. So what is it about Utah that gives you concern, Schlemmer?
I just think they got a good mix. They're one of those young, they kind of remind me a little bit of the Habs, honestly, but with a little bit more of a veteran presence. They play with speed. I think they're going to play loose, or a lot of teams don't in the playoffs. And I like the mix of vets they have, especially on D. They got Cole back there. They got the Russian. Can't remember his name.
Sergachev. Uyghur now
too.
Look at SKS Sean Smith comes in. All he cares about, he doesn't care about ad sales anymore. He doesn't care about sports radio. He doesn't care about CFCW, K97, nothing. All he cares about is the buffet now.
Free lunch, baby.
Look at this guy. And look at the Duke. He's just shaking his head. Oh. So, hey, well, this lunch, we got to figure it out then. It's probably on a Wednesday, I think. That's the best day.
Could be a Wednesday. Could be a Friday.
Yeah, because it's either Wednesday or Friday.
The benefit here, I don't know whose benefit, I suppose, but the easy part, maybe the better way to put that, is that we'll coordinate around Schlemmer's schedule because Eddie will make it work no matter what. If I could tell Eddie that we're going Sunday morning at 9:00, he'll be there. He will make it happen. So we'll coordinate around Schlemmer's schedule and then just tell Eddie and Sean and Josh when to show up.
Love that.
It's funny. So a guy that's been in media, SKS, for 30 years, not media, but selling, he just comes in and a total buzzkill to the top. We're having a great conversation. and he comes in and totally interrupts.
Just comes in fist pumping.
Oh, yeah, look at this. Hello. That'll be his gut screaming for a couple plates.
So anyways, back to Utah. Yeah. I do. I just think they're a team that nobody's really talking about. Nobody's worried about. They kind of remind me of like their 2012 run that I had, like with the Coyotes. Just a team nobody's really talking about that could maybe do a little damage. Maybe not. Maybe they get swept in the first round. What do I know? But I wouldn't want to play them.
But again, if you're the Oilers, I think that's why the 2 seed is important here, because Anaheim controls their own destiny for seed 3. So the Oilers get a point. They've got number 2. They would play Anaheim if Anaheim controls their own destiny and picks up some positive points. And then LA goes and plays,
Colorado.
Yeah.
That'd be good. I think that'd be good. So what happens if the Oilers have an opportunity going into Thursday to win the division? Are we ready?
Oh yeah.
They're going for it.
Absolutely.
They want it.
I would. Why do you want the second hole?
Well, I mean, for all the reasons we just talked about, but you can't come out and say that in the media.
No. You are winning Thursday and you're dressing your guys. And that's like if Vegas were to lose tonight. So Vegas has to lose tonight in regulation against Seattle. That happens. The Oilers are going gung-ho for a first division title in almost 40 years. And then you got Utah.
87. That's the last year they won it. That's hard to believe.
It is. Well, it is and it isn't. Think about it. So 88, well, they had some injuries that year. There were a lot of injuries. Calgary's, hey, listen.
Hard to remember that for this cat.
Hey, but listen, the Smythe division was no joke, man. I mean, you think about it, as good as Calgary was, as good as Calgary was, and how many times the Oilers had to beat Calgary to move on. They lose on the Steve Smith goal the 1 year. But as good as Calgary was, the Winnipeg Jets were unbelievable for a span of 7, 8, 9 years in the 80s. So I get that. And then, after the trade, you got 90 was different. And then after that, there wasn't the opportunity to win the division.
Okay.
So
I mean, I was born in 87, so hard to remember the late 80s and how good the teams were. But I'm just saying, like, they've been to 3 Cup finals since. You'd think they would have had a division.
Especially in the Connor era. I could see it in the Connor era, but before Connor got here, nothing.
Oh no, those were the dark days.
So you're looking from you're looking from 92 on, 92 to 2015. There weren't very many opportunities at all.
Yeah, fair.
Text 833-401-1440. A lot of text coming in. Like Trailer Park Ryan says, hey guys, I really don't care who the Oilers play. I'd prefer not to play the Kings just because 5 years in a row is a little much. But either way, you have to be able to beat any team, and we get that.
Yep.
Well, let's go get ready for round 1. To me, it's about the first round is so dangerous.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
Because
it's the best first round of any sport in the playoffs.
Absolutely. And I'm not talking about having Minnesota play Dallas and all that stuff, but it's the first round because these teams like Ottawa, they got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
They're going to go play Buffalo. You think like Utah's got nothing to lose.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Yep.
So when we come back, we're going to head down to Big D and Owen Newkerk from DLLS Sports, talk a little Stars, and they're going to open up against the Minnesota Wild. And right now, more concerned with the guys that are injured in Dallas, including Rope Hins, who's not going to be ready to go to start this series. But there's other players on Dallas, and we'll get an update from Owen when we come back. Were you going to say something there, Schlemmer?
Isn't Heiskanen?
Yeah, he got hit there. He got banged up behind the net. So there's a lot of this is going to be
loss.
To me, this series is all goaltending for Minnesota. If Minnesota's goaltending can hang in there, we know what Ottinger can do.
Yeah,
even though that he's lost to the Oilers a couple of years now.
I mean, look what he did to Colorado last year.
There you go. So we'll see what Owen has to say when we come back. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick, and our co-host on Wednesdays, David Schlemco for Cougar Paint and Collision. On Sports 1440 AM radio, we're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
as we all try to figure out when winter will actually stop and spring will finally be here for the season. GS Construction moves ahead with their plans for the year. From planning and digging to laying out underground infrastructure, construction season is limited, so we make every day count. And that's why GS Construction counts on our team to get the job done right. Crews are getting back in action across the city, and we'd like you to join us. We're looking for experienced top men, pipe layers, operators, and surveyors. For more, visit gsconstruction.ca.
At Cougar Paint and Collision, family incorporates everyone.
I mean, the staff at Cougar are the cogs in the wheel. If you've got one or two wheels that aren't rolling with the other one, then you're not going to have a smooth operation. Everybody that we have at the shop really enables us to continue to help Edmontonians. We just try and help people get their cars back on the road, and it's the people that work for you that are going to allow you to be successful.
Cougar Paint and Collision, our family helping your family.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off a $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
Mr. Rooter sees a UFO.
Mr. Rooter says 1 plunge, 2. What's this? A UFO? An unidentified floating object. It's beginning to glow and levitate.
Thank you, Mr. Rooter. You have freed us from the gravity of the white hole. Humanity will be spared.
Wow! People aren't going to believe this when I put it in our new commercial.
If you want to believe in a plumber, call Mr. Rooter.
This is Andrew Walker, host of the postgame show on Sports 1440. After every hockey game this season, tune in and chime in as we talk about the game. It's all sponsored by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Don't get left in the cold. Visit legacyheating.ca.
Today on Hey Culligan, how smart is your water? Here's Tracy.
Hey Culligan, I think my water might be dumb.
Good news, Tracy. Your water's not dumb. It's just not talking to you.
You can make my water talk.
No, but the new Culligan Smart Drinking Water System can talk to your phone to tell you when your water filters need changing and help you meet drinking water goals.
Now that's some brilliant H2O.
You said it, Tracy, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at culligan.ca.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the two best names in the boots business.
Alberta runs on hard work and high performance. Titan Supply has the products, knowledge, and service to ensure that performance. Now, they're part of Benmore, a Canadian company delivering lifting and securement solutions across the country. From designing and manufacturing to delivering lifting slings, securement products, crane cable, and more. They're built to take on the toughest jobs. Titan Supply and Benmore, stronger together. Visit ben-mor.com.
Stories, guests, and insights. This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 9:21 in Edmonton. Time now for the Puck Report, brought to you by Fountain Tire. And at Fountain Tire, we can meet all your car needs, your vehicle needs, and more. With our digital vehicle report, we just don't tell you what your car needs, we show you. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com today as we welcome back Owen Newkerk from DLLS Sports in Big D. Good morning, Owen. You're with Kevin Karius and the former NHLer, David Schlemco. As always, thanks for jumping on Sports 1440 this morning. Really appreciate it, big guy.
Former Dallas Star David Schlemco. Come on, guys. Let's not miss the headline here. I mean,
that's a big 5 games.
Schlemmer, we still have the banner. We're ready to put it up. We just have to get your approval first.
Oh, appreciate that.
You know what's funny is, Owen, every time we have, like last, I guess it was 2 weeks ago or 1 week. Yeah, it was 1 week we had someone on from San Jose. And they said the same thing. Yeah, the banner raising, it's coming up soon. It's coming up soon, big guy. So,
you just left an incredible impression on all of us.
Thanks. Yeah, appreciate that.
Good stuff.
Poor guy gets chirped every time we come on.
Yeah, man, oh man. And it's kind of like the walking wounded with some Stars players. Can you give us an update heading into this series with Minnesota? Who's in, who's out here, Owen?
Well, the biggest news most recently we found out yesterday is that Rope Hintz will not play in either game 1 or game 2 of the first round series against Minnesota. He hasn't been in the lineup since the trade deadline night. So March 6th, after the deadline passed, the Stars hosted the Avalanche, and he picked up an injury sort of in an away from the puck. I don't know if you want to call it a wrestling match or just sort of a hockey sort of tango or whatever with Nathan McKinnon. And he ended up just getting kind of tangled up, went down awkwardly. The Stars haven't given us any details on it. It looked like Hintz grabbed his hamstring, which is always a great thing. And if it is that, which again, that's not official. That's just from observing the play and watching that replay, which we never really got a real close up. It was one camera caught it because it was sort of in the opposite corner of the Stars offensive zone. And so it's far away. It's a little grainy. It's not exactly a Zapruder film, but it didn't look very good. And when you see Hintz sort of limp off the ice, those types of injuries, and obviously, David played a long time professionally, not just in Dallas, but those ones you have to worry when you come back because there's more susceptibility for re-aggravating an injury versus something like a broken bone where once you get that healed up, you're not any worse off. In fact, it's probably stronger where that break happened. So no Hintz for games 1 and 2 for sure. The part that actually kind of makes you take a deep breath and go, uh-oh, is that Glenn Gulletson yesterday said, we don't know when he can come back or if he can come back. Now, maybe he's just leaving that open. Maybe there's some gamesmanship going on and letting everybody in Minnesota know or not know what's going on, but that's concerning. The other one is we don't know anything about Miro Heiskanen. He picked up an injury against the Wild in one of the best, most entertaining games we've had all season. It was a week ago Thursday, and he left late in the first period, got his right leg bent back at the knee, kind of fell back on his right skate with the leg bent back. It didn't look good. And we haven't heard anything since. In fact, they've been very quiet. They haven't, the team hasn't given up any updates. And honestly, you wouldn't expect that unless it was he's definitely out for a long period of time or he's definitely in, but we just don't know. That's a huge deal, right? Your number one center and arguably your MVP, your number one defenseman. I think Miro Heiskanen, look, the Stars are a deep team, but I think Miro Heiskanen has the kind of ability and the impact on the Stars that a Cale Makar has for the Avalanche, and maybe even more so. We were talking about this on our show yesterday, that Quinn Hughes has on the Minnesota Wild. He's such an impact player, and Miro's that same thing. He's your breakout cheat code. He plays both ways. He kills a ton of penalties, but he also is their quarterback on their power play. They have depth. They can cover this, guys, but those two are big. Now, Sam Steele, we're waiting on a post-morning skate in Buffalo today to hear if he's going to return. He hasn't played for a bit now. He picked it up on the Eastern Conference road trip about 2 weeks ago. Michael Bunting and Radek Faksa came back in the lineup for the first time. Faksa since the Olympics when he got hurt against, I believe it was the Swiss. Here's the crazy thing about Faksa. Faksa picked up an upper body injury against Switzerland that caused him to miss the Czechia-Canada knockout game in the quarterfinals, which obviously that had to just burn at him to not play that game. He came back to Dallas. He was practicing. He was recovering from said upper body injury. And then in an optional practice, as he's trying to get himself cleared, he picks up a lower body injury. We don't know the details, but Jim Nill told us when that happened that it was an injury they've never experienced before from a hockey player. How about that? And Faksa told us, let's see, it would have been Monday. Sorry, the days blend together when you're up to 82 games today. He said in Toronto that he thought initially that the medical team told him his season was done. And so obviously to play before the end of the regular season, let alone play at all, is a really good thing. So it's a lot, guys. It's not a full strength lineup, but it's a very deep lineup. And the Stars have really relied on a lot of different guys in a lot of different positions to get to where they are, which is if they win tonight, they could end up with the second best point total in the entire league. Most NHL teams would kill for that. And we're in Dallas sitting here chewing on our fingers.
Yeah, can't blame you. Those are some pretty top high-end guys on the outside looking in right now, especially Heiskanen. That one worries me a lot. I totally agree that he is kind of the same as Quinn Hughes would be to Minnesota. I guess looking ahead at the playoffs, kind of known this first round matchup for a while. Have you heard anything around the room about a plan on maybe how to neutralize Quinn Hughes a little bit?
To quote a movie that I find I can't turn away whenever it's on cable, A Knight's Tale. How do you beat him? With a stick when he sleeps. And in hockey, obviously, there's a different connotation of with a stick. But no, he's so good, guys. I think the one thing is everybody says, well, he's not a big guy. He's pretty diminutive, but he's such an incredible skater, and he's so quick, and he gets out of situations so fast. How do you take a run at him? Because if you miss, he's going to make you look foolish. So in the game last Thursday, Jamie Benn took a couple of shots at him. Obviously, the Stars are a much different team. If you're remembering Dallas from the last couple of years, there are a lot of similar names from the conference final loss to the Oilers, but the physicality is different. And that's Glenn Gullitson's doing. He came in and for his opening press conference this past summer and preached, we need 1% more physicality, grit, playoff style playing from the beginning of the year. We're going to fold this into our game all year, so when you get to the playoffs, it's there. And they have that. And it's also a little bit of different personality. You know, they have Justin Ritzkovian and Adam Ernie adding a little bit. They picked up Nathan Bastian. Unfortunately, Bastian's hurt, and he's out for at least, I think, 3 to 4 more weeks, which is unfortunate. He blocked a shot with his hand on that last Eastern Conference road trip, just adding to the pile of injuries. But there is a dogged sort of determination about the play. And it's not just the depth guys. Jason Robertson is a different player this year. He's more physical. He's a big guy, but he's never really been accused of being really effective with his physical stature. But this year he has. Now, I don't know if you guys saw the Calgary-Dallas game a little over a week ago, but he did a reversal. Not Calgary. It was the Winnipeg game. He did a reversal on Salomonson, who got caught up high. I don't think it was an elbow. The Jets didn't like it. The Stars argued that it was clean. You know how that goes. And the young defenseman was forced to leave, and then Neil Pionk went after Robertson. And something I didn't like was he went for a hit when Robo didn't have the puck at his knees. And Schlemmer, again, I always defer to the ex-professionals. There aren't many pro hockey players that like seeing hits down in the lower body area. You know, if you're targeting below the hips, below in that knee area, nobody really likes that. Well,
agreed.
Colin Blackwell jumped him. Pionk didn't want to fight him. He was trying to get Robertson to fight. Blackwell basically did like an MMA submission chokehold and took him down. And then all of a sudden, Adam Lowry and Jamie Benn are dropping the gloves at center ice. And it's funny because Lowry in that game, it was a week and a half ago now, kind of had that look of, really? You didn't want to fight Colin Blackwell, so now I got to fight Jamie Benn, and Jamie Benn's probably like, I got to fight Adam. Like, those are two big boys. It was wonderful drama. But anyway, the point is that I think Gullitson has gotten the physicality to the point where Dallas is more apt to being that type of playoff team, not just away from the puck, but also going to the hard areas of the net. They were always a really good rush team, right? And using the speed of Hintz, understandably injured right now, Matt Duchene, Wyatt Johnston, Jason Robertson, using that get up the ice and go is fun. But you guys know that just doesn't always open up in the playoffs. When teams really tighten up, you've got to go, 6 to 10 foot radius around the net is where you're going to score most of your goals.
Yeah.
Yep.
Owen Newkerk from DLLS Sports with us, covers the Dallas Stars. So, Owen, with Minnesota adding some size and some bigger bodies at the deadline, are you expecting this to be like off the charts, a physical type of series? And can Dallas
Yeah, if the appetizer last Thursday was any indication, this one is going to be a bit of a gong show in a really good way. The additions of Nick Foligno and Michael McCarron, they trotted out a line of McCarron centering the Foligno brothers, Nick and Marcus, and they fit the billing and lived up to it. They were heavy on the forecheck. They were sending two guys hard. They are really, and I think we're going to see this, especially early in the series. Minnesota is planning on trying to really pin Dallas deep in their zone, not let them get going on a breakout, and overwhelm them with pressure. Especially with Miro Heiskanen out of the lineup, that's going to be even trickier. But I did notice that this is that difference I was talking about with what Gully has brought in and also the personnel they have. A few more guys that are willing to do what they have to do. The after whistle scrums were all over the place, almost constant. There was even after Colin Blackwell scored a beautiful goal. This is just how this game started going. So he scores he toe drags around Brock Faber. No easy task. Buries one from the slot, and then he ends up going toward the right corner, and he's kind of skating backwards. And I don't know if Nick Foligno intentionally got in his way or if he just happened to be there. It didn't look like he leaned into him, but there was a little contact, just a little shoulder to bump, back of the shoulder kind of thing. And all of a sudden, Colin Blackwell, who probably gives up a foot maybe in stature to Nick Foligno, turns and two-handed shove aside. And all of a sudden, we've got 10 guys in it wasn't exactly a line brawl, but we're talking about a goal celebration. The horns going off, the Pantera Dallas Stars puck off song is going, and everybody's just jumping into this big pile. You don't see that very often, right? I remember, there's always those clips over the years where you see a guy score and then somebody from the other team goes after him and causes chaos. I think we're going to see a fair amount of chaos in this series, and I'm here for it, right? This is what we want. We want great offense, two very good power plays. We want the physicality. We want the emotion. And that's the big thing. Look, I don't like, and we could rant about this all day, I don't like that the second and third best teams in the conference are playing each other in the first round. This feels like, and we said this last year when Dallas played Colorado in the first round. It feels like this should be a conference final or a second round at least. It doesn't reward the regular season performance at all. However, it's exactly the series you want. I don't know. Look, Philly versus Pittsburgh is going to be fun because of the whole Battle of Pennsylvania. We'll see how the rest of the West shakes out when the Pacific gets done in the next 2 days. I don't know if there's going to be a more compelling first-round matchup than Dallas versus Minnesota.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a good one. So with Heiskanen apparently out, possibly out for the first round. Looks like
maybe out.
Okay, well, for now, it looks like newcomer Tyler Myers has slid into that first pair on the right side. Just wondering how he's fit in so far, and do you think he can do the job up there?
So I'm gonna debate you on that and where he actually fits in, because he has been playing. You're right. They had him up with Esa Lindell. They also have had him with Thomas Harley. Early on, Myers was fantastic. Right? He is a great person. He's excited to be in Dallas. His mom still lives in Houston, where he was born. His dad is back in San Antonio after they lived in Calgary for a long time. When I think he was 10 years old when he and his dad moved up that way. Something happened about, I want to say, a week to a week and a half ago, and Myers took a hit that wasn't even that bad. Of course, it never does when somebody that's maybe my height, 6 feet, hits a 6'8" guy. You look like you bounce off. But he kind of shook his leg, and he missed a couple games. He's back in the lineup. Gulletson said at the time, it's just a precautionary thing. If this were, we got the classic line. If this were a playoff game, he'd be going. Well, in the games that he's come back, he hasn't looked quite the same. He looked a little different. For a guy that's 6'8", he skates extremely well. He's fluid. He gets up and down the ice really well. But there's just been some uncharacteristic, at least from the time that I've seen him in Dallas, issues. Maybe just not quite getting to the places he wants, lunging a little bit more. And again, I'm not inside the dressing room. I can't say for sure. We get the hunch that maybe whatever lower body injury he's nursing has affected his game a little bit. So with Heiskanen possibly out, and the reason why we say possibly is we haven't heard anything, right? And my gut says we haven't heard anything. We haven't seen anything, any news about him skating. Probably not. But we haven't heard he's not either. So it would be reckless to say, well, he's clearly out for game one. I would say it's highly likely he's out for game one. So we talked about this on our show yesterday. It totally messes up your pairings because do you want to load up Thomas Harley and Esa Lindell on the same pairing? They have a lot of left shots, right? Miro Heiskanen is their best right-sided defenseman, and he's a left shot. In the Olympics, Finland did play the Heiskanen Lindell pairing in reverse. Dallas has almost exclusively had Lindell on the left and Heiskanen on the right. But in those games over Milan, we actually saw Lindell on the right side a fair amount and Heiskanen on his left, which I like. I know Miro's good enough he can do both. But if you put Harley and Lindell together, now you're really loading up your top pairing. And so we actually have a hunch that you keep the Nils Lundqvist on the right, Thomas Harley on the left pairing together. They've been together for most of the year. That way you see maybe that the hunch is Ilya Lyubushkin goes up. Can he play 23, 25 minutes? Because he's not been that guy this year, but he and Lindell do a lot of penalty killing together. And that would put the two towers together. Liam Bichsel is 6'7", Tyler Myers 6'8". And that pairing, when he first got to Dallas, we really liked that. We started calling them the law firm because Bichsel Myers sounds like a law firm. And it is one of those circumstances where when they were together early, it's obviously a mountain of humanity, but they seem to physically play off each other. And Schlemmer, I don't know if you would like to go against a combined 13 and a half feet of defensemen if you're trying to get into the offensive zone, but it seemed effective. But the big question is, how do you replace Miro Heiskanen? The answer is you don't. So you just have to pick up the slack with everybody else. Lindell's going to have to eat a ton of minutes. He already stays out for basically 2 minutes of every penalty kill. And Harley's going to have to be that guy. Long-winded answers. You guys know what you get when you bring me on. I can talk all day. Sort of an occupational hazard here. But Harley, when Miro Heiskanen hurt his knee against the Vegas Golden Knights a year ago, January, and it didn't make the start of the playoffs against Colorado last year, Harley stepped up as the one defenseman, and he was that first power play guy. He looked great. He went into the Four Nations. You saw what he did last year with Hockey Canada, made the Canadian Olympic team. This year, he hasn't been as good. I thought he was better at the Olympics than he was in the first half of the NHL season. Can we get that? Now, Craig Ludwig, one of my co-hosts, goes, wow, look who he's playing with Canada. Those are some of the best players in the world. Of course, it's going to elevate your game. We need Harley to really fill up that void as long as Heiskanen is out.
Yeah. Hey, if you got time for one more, Owen, I just wanted to mention Glenn Gulletson. I've been lucky enough to know him for 30-some years, being a Saskatchewan guy, and, he spent a lot of time there. But how much has he drawn and pulled everything together here?
Well, Kevin, the question is, do you guys have time? Because I've got time. But no, in all seriousness, Gully is, it's interesting to see Pete DeBoer go to the Islanders because he's a phenomenal coach. 3 years. If the Stars would beat the Sabres tonight, it'll be the third consecutive 50-win season, which would be the third. I believe the NHL put out, it would be the sixth franchise ever to win 50 or more games in 3 straight years, which is not an easy task. Pete DeBoer was the head coach for those first 2 and the one before that, and they got to 3 straight conference finals. He's a great coach. But as you guys are well aware, his style, I think Bruce Cassidy fits into that mold, and there's plenty of others, where they are the button pushers of an already intense lineup, right? They are going to try to wring and squeeze any last drop out of a team and push you hard. And that, over time, I think can wear on a group. And so they bring in Glenn Gulletson. It was an interesting decision at the time. Obviously, we all saw what happened with DeBoer and Ottinger after Game 5 against the Oilers last year with both the in-game, the after-game, the double down later. Whatever. Gully has been, Kevin, he's an incredible communicator, right? Yeah. He's a good person. That doesn't mean, there's a line that I remember Jim Nils said to us years ago, because he talked about family being so important with the Dallas Stars. We are a big family. It's a culture that he's established for 13 seasons as the Stars general manager. But then he looked at me when we were talking about this and he said, but this isn't a love-in. And I love that line. Why? Because Jim Nill cares about you. He cares about you as a human being, not just a hockey player. You're not just you're not just cattle. You are more than just a means to a roster. Mm-hmm. However, this is a business. We are professionals. We're going to have those hard conversations. We're going to, this is still a results-based business. And I think that sort of epitomizes how Glenn Gulutzan does it. That doesn't mean he's just going to give you a hug and say, great job, champ, every single time you make a mistake. There's still accountability. They still expect excellence. But there is also the human element behind it. And I think that Gully is really skilled at that. Obviously, we don't see what's in the room, but everything he does as far as media availabilities, I mean, he's great to deal with. He's very honest. He tries not to duck stuff. Obviously, he still has to be political at times, especially with all our injury questions. We've had all sorts of different we hopes. We hope this, we hope that, maybe this, and that kind of thing. We hope Miro Heiskanen will play. We hope Roope Hintz might play. Maybe. We don't know, that kind of stuff. But in all seriousness, it seems like Gulutzan has set this roster up, which has been very close for 3 straight years, to be more successful in the playoffs, especially against a team like Minnesota. Mm-hmm. The first time they played him, which was a couple years ago now, Dean Evison was still the coach. There's the flashback. And DeBoer had them say, hey, we're not going to engage in any of the physicality. Let them take their dumb penalties. We're going to score on the power play. And they got in their heads and they smoked him, right? They just, Minnesota had one thing. Well, obviously, Matt Boldy has emerged. Kirill Kaprizov is incredible. And they have Quinn Hughes, not to totally reduce their roster. They've gotten better. They're not just we're going to get in your face, but they're still going to do that. But I think Gully has them prepared for that. I also think that his calm, Kevin, is a difference. We heard Elliot Friedman talk about this, I think, a week ago when DeBoer was hired by the Islanders. And he said that one of the constructive criticisms from Dallas was when the games got more intense, DeBoer got more stressed out or more anxious. And that maybe wears off on the players in front of it. I think Gully, look, he's as fiery and intense and competitive as a person as anybody, but I think he exudes a little bit more of that calm. And we'll see, right? This is the whole thing. This whole test run is about to come to a head with game 83 and beyond. Because, look, this sounds crazy. Losing in the first round can happen, but it's kind of unacceptable if you're a Dallas Stars fan right now. Isn't that ridiculous? If you don't make it to the conference final, I think everybody views that as a failure, which is mind-bogglingly, horribly high standards. They may have to get to the Stanley Cup final for people to say, oh, that was a good year, which is ridiculous.
It is, and it's a fair comment. I'll tell you what, Owen, as I said, if you get to the Final Four, it's a hell of a season for you.
Yes.
That's how tough it is to get to that deep in the playoffs. So, Owen, thanks so much for your insight. Really appreciate it. Thanks for your time. I'm sure we'll talk as the playoffs get going here. And have a good one, big guy, and appreciate you coming on as always.
Well, fellas, thanks for listening. I'm sure I could probably shorten it up a little bit, but it's always fun to join both of you.
No, good stuff. Thanks, Owen. That's our puck report brought to you by Fountain Tire. Worry-free appointment booking at fountaintire.com today. Check it out. Like with, as you say, they're a better team with Michel and Myers together.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, no, but that's like a pair of pterodactyls standing on the blue line.
That is, yeah. You don't want to go into the corner with either one of those guys.
How do you get by? Like you said, those guys, and they reminded me of the Samuelson guys with the Penguins years and years ago. I mean, Shell and Ulf. Ulf wasn't as big as Shell, but they were just
dirty though.
Absolutely.
It's my first D coach in the NHL.
Was he?
Oh yeah.
Well, I guess in Phoenix. Eh?
Yeah, him and Wayne.
Yeah.
What a duo.
Yeah. I'm surprised, when his son was here, and you probably remember him, Henrik, when he was with the Oil Kings.
Oh, yeah. I played with him in the minors in San Antonio for a bit.
When he was here with the Oil Kings, I thought, man, this guy's he was a first-round draft pick. I thought he was, what was missing with him? I don't know. He was a big body, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was just kind of steady. He was just kind of vanilla, I guess you could say.
It's funny because they had, the Oil Kings back then, they had the two, well, I guess he was a second-round pick. Mitch Moroz and Henrik Samuelsson. They had two of the biggest power forwards in junior at the time back then, and neither of them panned out.
Yeah.
So professionally.
They don't always.
They don't always. When we come back, we're going to go in or out with David Schlemco on the Kevin Karius Show. The Duke of Delburne and Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
At Fountain Tire, the savings come in threes. Up to 25% off select tires, a mail-in rebate of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires, and $50 off a $150 service. We're basically the BLT of savings. Until April 25th. Restrictions apply. Book today.
Summit Restaurant, located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Cheers. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
Looking for a solid 4x4 that checks all the boxes? The 2026 Jeep Compass is in stock now at St. Albert Dodge, and this is a great value, starting from just $36,900. It's a Jeep, so you've got 4x4 capability, plus features like an 8.4-inch touchscreen, Apple CarPlay, active lane management, a park view rear backup camera, and more. Over 30 in stock right now in just about every color you'd want. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Professional golf is coming to Blackhawk Golf Club this fall. The ATB Classic, presented by Building Trades of Alberta, brings the stars of PGA Tour Americas to you. Enjoy the ATB Fan Zone, presented by Michelob Ultra, where golf meets festival vibes. Upgrade to VIP-covered terrace seating with premium food and beverage options. September 17th to 20th. Tickets start at just $25, and the first 250 buyers receive a PGA Tour Americas commemorative gift. Get yours at atbclassic.com.
From the local rinks to homes and businesses across the province, Alberta's rural natural gas utilities are here to fuel life affordably, reliably, and safely. We're members of the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops, providing natural gas to keep our rural neighborhoods warm and connected every day. It's local, dependable, and it's ours. To learn more about the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops and our members, and how natural gas fuels your community, visit fedgas.com. Alberta's energy. Game on.
Sports 1440.
All sports,
all day.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Thanks for listening to Edmonton's sports leader.
Welcome back to the big program. 9:51 in Edmonton. We'll be going over the top of the hour with an edition of In or Out momentarily. Text 833-401-1440. L. Nate. This is a good one here. Schlemmer. On Glenn Gulletson. Gully, great guy. He lived in my building the last couple of years. I'd see him in the elevator every now and then. $5,000 tailored suit, perfect hair, strong jawline, absolute man rocket. He goes, I used to be nervous about my wife ending up in the elevator with him. She could just leave me for him, and I'd have to just shrug and say, yeah, I get it.
Wow.
I'm very confident.
What a guy.
Nate his own. Good one, though. That's got some chuckles to it for sure.
Great.
That's good. Time now for Are You In or Out? Brought to you by Pro Solutions. If you need fast air conditioning service, Pro Solutions offers expert repairs, tune-ups, and installs with flexible financing. Book your appointment now at prosolutionsinc.ca.
Okay. You know what? Moving too fast. Bottom line, are you in or are you out?
In or out of what?
No time for questions. Just action. In or out?
Well, then I'm out.
I'm sorry, Jet. Actually, you're already in.
Are you in or are you out?
On Sports 1440.
I thought you would go, I'm in, Bob. We would have had a really cool moment, but you kind of ruined the whole thing.
All right, Duke, let her buck.
The Edmonton Oilers off again today from game action. That is anyway for a second straight before they wrap up their regular season schedule tomorrow against the Vancouver Canucks. You kind of touched on this really briefly earlier, Schlemmer, but I think regardless of how things shake out across the rest of the league, we will not see any players, quote unquote, rested by Edmonton in tomorrow's regular season finale.
Yeah. Well, I think we're probably both in agreement. We're going to see adds to the lineup.
Yeah.
So instead of players rested, I think we'll see adds, and I think you're going to go as much as you can here. I mean, they need a point here tomorrow night. Got to get
got to get that second.
Get the second hole. You've got to get the second hole.
Yeah, I agree. I think home ice is huge. We already talked about who we think is best to play, but I don't think you're going to rest players. I think that'd just be a slap in the face to another team.
Yeah, I mean,
the
it's
team you
happened.
might face
I mean,
if it works out in your favor.
I mean, Minnesota rested a whole bunch of players, still won. Carolina rested a whole bunch the other night. But
they're
for me,
a different situation,
for sure.
Yeah.
They got to win this game. They want to win this game. The other thing too is, and I know it's team. Connor's got 2 goals short of 50. Nuge is at 19. So he's 1 short of 20. But Colson's at 19. So I don't know. Get a couple power plays and figure this out. Get a couple guys to maybe reach some plateaus here. Connor McDavid gets 50. He's got to win the Hart Trophy. He might win it right now. I mean, I think it's between him and Kucherov.
Yeah. I don't think McDavid cares.
I know they don't
about
care.
Getting 50 or maybe Podsy. It might be big for his next contract or something.
Well, he's already signed. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, true. It don't matter.
Doesn't matter. But I'm just saying they're not resting any guys. All these guys are playing. You might load manage them as the game progresses.
Yes, that's a great point. That's a great point.
Duke on Monday or whatever it was, or Tuesday. Get Vancouver out of this game as fast as you can.
Right.
And make them lose interest.
Roll the depth, guys.
Go. Like Vancouver, I mean, they played hard last night. They did. They were outplayed in the third period, but they played hard. So get a couple goals up on them and let them lose interest and go, we got another half an hour, 45 minutes here. Let's get the hell out of here.
Just take their life right away.
And that's a good point, Kevin. And I wonder if that's easier said than done. Like the Canucks, we get it. They're the worst team in the league. They're going to have the best odds at the top first overall pick. All these factors is a final game for them as well. But this is a division rival. It is a team that maybe can you take a little bit of solace in thinking like, all right, let's try and get one of them and try and make life more difficult on the Oilers come playoff time. Because if they lose this game, then there is still that chance of them falling into a spot where they have to take on Colorado. And that's the topic when earlier you two were discussing potential first-round matchups that didn't even come up because I think it's so obviously the team that you least want to play.
Don't even want to think about it.
As a President's Trophy team. And Cale Makar made his return last night and looked as good as ever. Yes, it's against the Flames, but still the point is taken. So, and this text just came in. The Oilers don't really have enough healthy bodies to rest anybody anyway. And it's worth noting. And I think I'm with you, Kevin. I think we're more likely to see, Zach Hyman return to the lineup than we are to see, say, Connor McDavid, RNH, or any other regular maybe sit out a game just for the sake of one extra night off.
The one guy when we're talking about we're talking about injuries here, Duke it's been really silent on Dickinson, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm. It really has.
He's silent, man.
And he's important.
Yeah.
Very, very. Oh, I think you look at since the addition of both him and Connor Murphy, and maybe part and parcel, but the difference in the Oilers, maybe not night to night, but more nights than not, has been very, very evident. Earlier this week, we saw Jonathan Quick play his final game in the NHL, going to retire here at season's end. In the 2010s, over the course of the decade, he was a 2-time Stanley Cup winner, Jennings Trophy winner, Conn Smythe winner. I think Quick, he ranks second to only Carey Price in that decade as a goalie, you'd want in your net in a one-game playoff win or go-home situation.
Gonna let Schlemmer go. This is his era, baby. That's his
Yeah,
era.
I'm definitely in on this one. I might even take you a step further. Quick has 2 Stanley Cups, and I don't think Pricey has any.
It's very true. He does not.
But you know, I've played with them both. I'll give it to you. Price is probably the best goalie out of that era. But Quickie is a close second, man. He was he took away my chance to go to a Stanley Cup final.
Tell us that story.
Well, conference finals 2012.
Yeah.
LA was the better team anyways. I'll admit that. But man, like those around 5 years from about 2010 to 2015, like every night is like a highlight reel save of him like swimming across the crease, making a backdoor save. He's one of the most athletic goalies I've ever seen, that's for sure.
Number gets retired in LA easily. You know, as you start saying, Duke, you know, as far as even games played, you know, starting in 2010. Pardon me, what?
Well, I just in the all-time stack list, he's 8th in games played, 8th in wins.
Yeah, I'm just looking during that decade.
Okay,
as you say, like in and this is a decade. I mean, this is the Kings. That's what you're talking about. His time in LA.
Obviously.
For this decade. I mean, with the 2 cups that you mentioned, Schlemmer, and then the amount of games played, like we're talking 69s and 72s and 68s. I mean, that's a real workhorse. And I think some injuries started to bite him when he got older, and that resulted in him to go to Vegas and then the Rangers. But yeah, I'm in on this one. I might even, like, I understand where you're coming at with Price, but again, I look at the 2 cups. You can talk about
could make the argument either way.
Like that.
Yeah.
Price probably does better commercials ice fishing, but
yeah, Schlemmer, he was my favorite goalie to watch in this era of hockey, no doubt. And you know, not the biggest guy, but you talk about the athleticism, and it's so crazy. It seemed impossible what he would do sometimes. He'd be on his stomach and still somehow have side-to-side movement on his edges. Like it bordered on the unbelievable. And you know, he kind of made one of those big, like, behind his back with the glove saves. You know, Vasilevsky's made a couple of those since that maybe steal the spotlight a little bit. Like on getting somehow lifting his legs off the ice to make saves out of the air where they seemed impossible. Just so much fun to watch. And it kind of a little bit unorthodox, as in that era we saw a lot more guys move to the textbook positional butterfly blocking style of netminder.
He was super athletic. He was never out of a play. Never gave up on a puck.
Yeah.
No. And I was just trying to figure out, I'm trying to place and figure out someone else. And the only guy I could think of when you're talking cups, and for that decade,
you think Chicago, but it's not going to be Corey Crawford.
The only other,
I think the other name that comes up, and he obviously, like Price, did not win a cup, but maybe to no fault of his own, is Henrik Lundqvist. And his playoff success, he's got the Vezina trophies to back it up. Went to a cup final, of course, as well, just like Price. But yeah, it was a good era of goaltenders, and we didn't really see anybody run away with it necessarily from, you know, consecutive. Like, I think right now it's pretty obviously to me a guy like Vasilevsky here in this era, and maybe not really close around the rest of the league.
Will Tiger give you some props for this question?
Maybe Tiger will. Just to put a bow on this, first ballot Hall of Famer, or does he have to wait?
I think he's in pretty quick.
He's the most winning American goaltender of all time. I think arguably the best American goaltender of all time. He'd be a first ballot guy for me, no doubt. Eastern Conference playoff seeding is set after last night's games. We've got all 4 of our matchups, and just a simple prediction. I'm taking the chalk. I'm taking the favorites across the board. Buffalo, Tampa Bay, Carolina, and Pittsburgh will all be through to round number 2.
How brave of you, Duke.
Thank you. Thank you. I like to go off the board sometimes.
It's hard to argue, though. I'm interested to watch the Pittsburgh Philly series. I kind of think that one could go either way. I'd like to see Montreal make a run at it with Tampa, but I don't like their chances. I like Carolina taking care of business. Who does Buffalo play again?
Boston.
Oh, I kind of think that one could go either way, too.
I'm going to go 2 upsets here. I got Boston to upset Buffalo first round. I think I'll go with Jeremy Swayman. Then I got Philadelphia to beat Pittsburgh. I got Dan Vladar.
I could see either of
the
those.
other ones, too. I think the Carolina series here intrigues me because everyone's so hot and horny about Ottawa right now. And I mean, Carolina's goaltending, we all know about it, but I mean, what's it proven? Nothing.
Yeah.
And we know about Ullmark. I mean, everything. And things are coming together in Ottawa. They're going in hot. All the metrics were great there before.
You're right.
Talking about how they played and the fact they weren't getting the saves. Now they're getting the saves. To me, the Tampa, I don't know, like for some reason, I just don't have confidence in Montreal.
I don't really either. I don't think they're quite there yet, but I think it would be nice to see like a 6-7 game series there.
I think if Montreal had a different draw in the first round, I would give them a much better chance. But I think Tampa might be my pick out of the East overall. I think it's once again between them and a team like the Hurricanes. But you give an edge to a team like Tampa because of their experience and actually getting over that conference final hurdle that seems to block Carolina every single season. And then as we just talked about, a guy like Vasilevsky as opposed to what's probably going to be Brandon Bussey, a first-year goaltender taking the reins for a cup challenging team.
I think Carolina is a team that's got a lot to prove. I think a lot of people are counting them out already just because of their history.
Yeah. And yet they're the second best team in the NHL from a point perspective.
Right.
They've done it wire to wire. I think there's an argument even with the Colorado Avalanche winning the President's Trophy. I think Carolina's been the most consistent team from opening day to now the conclusion of the season. They just go about their business. They just do it year in and year out. And then come conference final time, they just don't seem to have the jam.
Yep.
Jumping over to a very hot topic, both in this city and across the rest of the NHL in recent weeks, the Norris Trophy and the vote going to be coming up here at the conclusion of the regular season. I'm not saying this is what my hypothetical ballot would look like. It's just a prediction of what the finalist names will be, and in no particular order for the Norris Trophy this year. There's a ton of really good candidates, and maybe a little bit of an outsider finds their way in, but I think it is Zach Werenski, Cale Makar, and Edmonton's Evan Bouchard.
Go ahead, D-Man.
Interesting. So no Quinn Hughes in there, eh?
No.
Yeah, I could totally see these guys being the finalists. For me, I like, well, if you're just picking the best defenseman, I think Cale Makar is going to win it almost every year, just like McDavid should win the Hart every year. But since it doesn't work like that, I'd like to see Zach Werenski this year. He's been around it. I feel like he's been like that in that second tier below the other two big guys for a while now, and watching him a little more, watching him at the Olympics, he's just a really, really quality player.
So obviously Olympics don't count.
True. Fair. I'm just from my perspective.
Okay, let's look at, and again, we talked about this earlier. Zach Werenski in the last 11 games of the regular season has been well below average. He is not even in a top 10 defenseman in the NHL in the last 11 games. Not even close. The numbers show it. The play shows it. His stats show it. It's not even close.
Did he just have a goal in a shootout winner the other night?
In a must-win game for him. I think he also scored was in on the tying goal late as well.
His stats in the last 10, 11 games aren't there. Bouchard's stats in the first 10 games weren't there. But everyone keeps bringing this up, Schlemmer. They keep bringing it up and say Bouchard's not the defenseman that Werenski is. Now, again, I've been saying this for a long time. Bouchard, to me, before the Olympics was probably 4 or 5. Then he went to 3. Then he's went to 2. And now I think it's probably a coin toss between him and Werenski, in my eyes. And I know you don't see Bouchard as a guy like this.
I just don't. I see too many breakaways in the LA game that cost you the game.
Okay. And that's what everybody sees, and you see that. But the other guys are making the same mistakes.
Not as many.
Okay. The stats show it, Schlemmer.
Well, like what stat? Like the guys upstairs that show like mark a giveaway in a game?
Yeah.
Is that the same as like trying to dance a guy at the blue line?
I get it all. I get it all, Schlemmer. And I know, I'm not going to ever question what you see to a defenseman. What I'm saying that they're about the same. With these guys, when they make mistakes, it doesn't get plastered all over social media. And I'll be the first to say, I haven't watched Werenski start to finish 80 games like I've watched Bouchard. Same as I think a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people can say the same thing. Similar with Makar. Makar makes a ton of mistakes. He does. It's just a simple fact. So I don't think in the big picture that the discrepancy between those guys that everyone talks about out east, like for guys like Bieksa and all these guys to go on and talk about Bouchard with information that is, well, it's not true, but they keep bringing it up and they talk about it. And then what happens is it just keeps steamrolling and steamrolling across social media. And then all of a sudden everyone's going, Bouchard's not in the same conversation as these guys, but he is.
Okay. I mean, for me, could easily be the best offensive defenseman in the league. Easily. I don't even think there's a question this year. And I understand that other guys make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah,
Hockey's a game of mistakes. It's just how and where and when you make them.
Like, I agree that, that the goal against LA, he had a bad game against Utah. But, since for a long time, for several months, he's been really, really, really good.
Hey, no, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to harp on Evan Bouchard and say he's not an elite player. He is. He definitely is.
So to the question, and Duke's question, which we're getting away, but I still think that those would probably be the finalists for me. I think those three.
And so if you were casting a vote, Kevin, would those be atop of your ballot?
Those three are probably there for me. Those three right there. As I said, I don't know if Bouchard would win it, and I don't know if he really took a deep dive into everything as a voter should, but be objectional about it. Then you make your decision off of that. So, I mean, the other thing too, Duke, like who's getting a lot of legs right now? Like a lot of,
Rasmus Dahlin. I think Moritz Seider is not getting enough love, maybe. And we just talked about him with Owen Newkerk, Miro Heiskanen in Dallas. I don't think he'll ever get the love that he deserves because he's probably at peak a 70-point defenseman, where at different eras would have been really impressive for a D-man to put up. But currently when you have guys like Bouchard and Makar putting up 90 plus year after year, it doesn't resonate the same. Like which right or wrong, it's just how it is.
A lot of these guys, Schlemmer, have gone on, like BX are talking about Bouchard not penalty killing. Well, his penalty killing minutes are more than a Makar. They're more than a Werenski.
Oh yeah. I'm not arguing with you on like the media stuff. My opinion has nothing to do with the media stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll keep bringing this up because I think it's worth noting. Bouchard plays the most penalty kill minutes on a team that has a bad penalty kill. I don't see that as a positive. I'm sorry, I don't. So once again, it's not a negative on Bouchard in that sense, but there's just so many really good candidates this year for the trophy. I think as many as we've seen in recent memory, if not beyond. Finally, we'll jump over to the world of film. Canadian legend Seth Rogen turning 44 years old today. If you'd asked me how old Seth Rogen was, I would not have guessed he was only 44. Seemed like he's been around forever already. And being just 44 did surprise me. But long list of works as a writer, producer, director even, and of course as an actor as well. I'm going to go with his best as a little bit of a tertiary side character role as Officer Michaels in Superbad as his best.
I don't know.
I can't argue with that. Superbad is my favorite movie.
It is so
ever.
It is
so the
good.
Best. I'm trying to think of some other ones. Knocked Up.
Knocked Up. That was kind of the only one he was maybe really a true lead in, right? And it's a very good movie.
It's funny too.
Very funny. He had another kind of side role in 40-Year-Old Virgin. Voice character in a few different things, including Kung Fu Panda. Maybe if you're watching that with the kids, and then Sausage Party. He was the lead.
You watched that movie 100 times, Duke.
That movie is hilarious. I don't care what. It is so funny. This is the end. The interview opposite the other Franco guy. So he's got a very long list of works, and I definitely think he's a better writer than he is actor. But he's obviously got some very funny roles across his filmography.
Yeah, I'm in, and I want to watch Superbad right now.
Him and Bill Hader is the officers. They, for having a pretty small role in the movie's big scheme, so good.
Yeah,
so funny. They're shooting the pop cans or the beer cans with the gun out in the street.
I don't know. I'll probably just say the Knocked Up one. That's probably the only one I've seen that really rings a bell for me.
That's really good too.
Very good.
Yeah.
And I mean, the 40-Year-Old Virgin's an all-timer movie. Once again, very relatively speaking, small role in that as one of the co-workers at the electronics store for Steve Carell. But
right.
Still, he's hilarious. He's very funny.
Oh, good stuff, Duke. That's In or Out, brought to you by Pro Solutions. Check them out at prosolutionsinc.ca. Book your appointment now. When we come back, we'll check in with Landon Ferraro, our pre- and post-game show host here on Sports 1440. Before that, time now for a Sports 1440 update. Brought to you by All-Star Construction. They shape and build Edmonton communities, specializing in underground utilities like power, gas, telecommunications, and street lighting. That's All-Star Construction. Here is the Duke.
The Sports 1440 update.
Half dozen games across the NHL, and this the second to last day of the regular season. Sabres hosting the Stars. Rangers are in Tampa. Red Wings taking on the Panthers. Sens host the Maple Leafs. Sharks are in Chicago. And some out-of-town scoreboard watching for Oilers fans. Vegas Golden Knights hosting the Seattle Kraken. In the association playoff play-in tournament continuing tonight with the 7-8 game in the Eastern Conference. Orlando in Philly against the Sixers. That one tipping off at 5:30. And then at 8, the Clippers hosting Golden State in the West 9-10 play-in matchup. Jackie Robinson Day across the major leagues of baseball. Everybody wearing 42. Blue Jays continue their set in Milwaukee. First pitch just after 5:40. Dylan Cease on the bump for Toronto. Elsewhere, Arizona and Baltimore are set to get underway here in about 10 minutes time. Also in matinee affairs, Cleveland and St. Louis, Minnesota hosting Boston. And later to come, Cubbies in Philly, Yankees hosting the Angels. Coming up in hour 4 of the Kevin Karius Show, we'll be joined by our Sports 1440 pre- and post-game analyst, Landon Ferraro. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Spring into savings at The Brick. Refresh your home with huge discounts. Save up to $1,800 on sofas and sectionals. And buy more, save more, up to 25% off bedroom and dining furniture. Dreaming of better sleep? Upgrade your mattress game and save up to 40% off select mattresses and score free delivery when you use your Flexity card. Plus, save 15% when you buy 2 or more select major kitchen appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, proudly Canadian since 1971.
Everything is going to be okay. Any business, regardless of size, can stumble occasionally. I'm Dan McDicken, a licensed insolvency trustee with Faber. If your business is facing financial challenges, our team of chartered insolvency and restructuring professionals have corporate debt recovery solutions that work. Schedule your free Faber Focus session at faber.ca today. Chances of a positive outcome increase if you engage Faber sooner rather than later.
Andrew Walker, host of the postgame show on Sports 1440. After every hockey game this season, tune in and chime in as we talk about the game. It's all sponsored by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Don't get left in the cold. Visit legacyheating.ca.
All this month, you can get in the swing of spring with Pot for Dough at Nissan Ford. Shop amazing deals on their entire in-stock inventory of cars, trucks, and SUVs. You're sure to find the perfect ride. Then, with every vehicle purchase, you'll get your turn to Pot for Dough. Just sink your putt to win fantastic prizes like gas cards, big screen TVs, Blackstone griddles, and more. See dealer for full details. Find your new ride at nisqford.ca. Above expectations.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 10:15 in Edmonton. Got a quick little segment here before we get to Landon Ferraro from our pre- and post-game show here on Sports 1440 with Andrew Walker and Donnie P. Lots of text rolling in, 833-401-1440. It's a contentious argument issue, when you talk about Bouchard and where he slots in here. But I honestly believe that the people out east, they want to bury him.
It's a conspiracy.
We've had texts that have come in here, Schlemmer, obviously a lot. And like the one, and it's sort of an older one, just regarding the candidates regarding turnover rate. So this is from SportLogic IQ or whatever it is. So again, I'm with you. I'm eyeball test, and I totally agree. When Bouchard makes a turnover giveaway, and he's had some 5 dingers, man, and it's in the back of the net, like it's to toe drag, it's a pass across crease. This is from SportLogic. So Bouchard's got an 11.4% turnover rate. 56 of them led to scoring chances. 11 led to goals. Makar, 11.2. 43 led to scoring chances. 12 led to goals. Werenski, 12.8. 49 led to scoring chances. 10 led to goals. This is all, again, it's depending on who's seeing this and putting the information in. I always go with that too.
Yeah. I mean, there's just some things that you can't figure out with analytics, right?
I totally agree, man. I'm the furthest from it. But the only thing that I will say is that he's in the same conversation with all these guys when it comes to poor decisions and poor defensive play. Okay. He's in that conversation with these guys. They're all they're all like that. There isn't, we don't have that.
I mean,
sorry, we don't have Nick Lidstrom anymore, man.
We sure don't. No. Yeah, I don't know. That one's just tough for me. I mean, if you plug all these stats into a computer and they tell you one thing, if you ask 3 NHL head coaches, you might get a completely different answer.
I mean, it's going to be a debate that goes on until the trophy's handed out here.
And after.
When we come back, Landon Ferraro will be with us, our 1440 pre and post game show analyst. Kevin Karius, David Schlemco, and the Duke of Delburne, along with Josh Fenwick here on Sports 1440 AM Radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Cougar Paint and Collision, their family-first approach makes you feel like part of the clan.
We care about the shop because it's our name on the sign. And when you own a business, that is so important to remember that everyone you're dealing with is a human being and they're going through something, whether you see it or not. What will make people choose you is how they feel when they leave your shop. People need to feel important. They need to feel heard. I think that sets us apart. It's really, really important.
Cougar Paint and Collision, our family helping your family.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Would you like to be a part of history for the month of April? I'm kidding. Or as the kids say, bro, I'm joking. Would you like to help us set a record in April? Chill. Still kidding. At Northgate, we aren't trying to set any records or tell you how many vehicles we sell. And we really don't think you'd care. But what you will care about is this. Every dealer has the same costs. Trust me. GM does not have a favorite kid. You get to decide where you buy. 0% financing, a great selection, and of course, great people. Stop in and see us today. 13215 97th Street or business online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
Fast track your financial goals with a special rate term deposit from Vision Credit Union. For a limited time, take advantage of a great rate on 1, 3, or 5-year terms. Plus, as a Vision Credit Union member, you can earn up to 25% more on your interest through profit shares. For details, contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca. That's visioncu.ca.
From the local rinks to homes and businesses across the province, Alberta's rural natural gas utilities are here to fuel life affordably, reliably, and safely. We're members of the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops, providing natural gas to keep our rural neighborhoods warm and connected every day. It's local, dependable, and it's ours. To learn more about the Federation of Alberta Gas Co-ops and our members, and how natural gas fuels your community, visit fedgas.com. Alberta's energy. Game on.
Just in time for the morning skate. This is the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 1021 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, David Schlemco with you. And Schlemmer's powered by Cougar Paint and Collision. It's where family service and pride have earned customer trust for decades. Check them out at cougarcollision.com as we welcome back Landon Ferraro, our pre and post game analyst here on Sports 1440, among other things, out in Vancouver, covering women's and the Canucks the whole bit. Morning, Landon. You're with Kevin Karius and the former NHLer, David Schlemco. As always, thanks for jumping on Sports 1440 this morning. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me.
We were Schlemmer and I were kind of going through the tail end of one guy's career, the start of another one, to see if you guys crossed paths anywhere. And he was kind of going, I don't think we did. The only place I could see was when you were in Grand Rapids and he played a little bit in Portland. So I don't know. Do you remember Schlemmer back in the day at a little bit crossing paths, Landon?
No, like he would have just missed. I got lucky. If you're going to get stuck in the American League for a while, I got stuck in the West. So it was a little better on that side. But I don't think other than that, maybe no, I don't think it would have even been that. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, Schlemmer was trying to go through it too.
Missed each other in junior, missed each other in the minors. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. I'll take that miss. You're another bigger guy. I don't need that.
Oh man. Hey, just a quick thought before we get to the Oilers and everything. Just watching the Canucks game last night, I thought they played really hard and picked up the overtime win with Jake DeBrusk, and I think we're going to see a similar effort from the Canucks when they close things out against the Oilers here tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that game and seeing how they finish. It was I did the PWHL game last night at the Golden Eyes, so their game against Seattle, and that was great. But so I'll actually be watching the Vancouver game just after I get off here. But just checking the scores and seeing who popped off again, and there's been a real good push here in the last couple games. And when you have a team, Edmonton has gone through this. They understand what you're looking for during a rebuild. Like, you just want to see the guys fight through the entire game and push to try and stay in it. Try and, even if you're not going to win it, just have a good effort. Know that the guys put everything they had into it. And when you get that, the fans in Vancouver have been really good through this year as well, showing up still and cheering when they give them something to cheer about. And I'm excited to see how that one actually plays out. But at the same time, just for those guys to have some bit of happiness pushing to the end of the year, that's huge.
Yeah, I've been on good teams and bad teams. Most guys have been on some bad teams, but
I've been on one good team and
good. So you know what it feels
years,
like
so 11
into those
bad
games.
Ones.
Right? You have that plan. You're going to come out and give a good effort, and we want to win and stay in the game, but it's not going to take too much. Maybe just a couple early Oilers goals to start thinking about that end of the year night they probably have planned in Vancouver, eh?
Yeah, it's one of those, you know how it is. It's one of those where you go into it and you're like, yeah, of course. I'm going to put everything I have and all of that. And then you get the first opportunity of you have to make the decision of, am I getting in the shot lane or not? And you're like, oh, my foot feels pretty good right now. Do I need to eat that?
Yeah, exactly. Landon Ferraro with us, Kevin Karius, David Schlemco on Sports 1440. So, the Oilers need 1 point tomorrow, Landon, to secure second spot. Don't know who their opponent would be in the first round. We know they're not going to be playing Vegas, but as far as the other teams that are possibilities here, what's their best matchup in your mind?
Anaheim would be the best, I feel. It's the one to me that they can take the most advantage of. Anaheim has a really good team, a lot of really good young players, but this is going to be their first taste, and it's a lot. I only had one chance at it, and it took, we went to 7 games. I don't think I felt somewhat comfortable till about game 3, right? Everything's moving so fast, and it's a lot. It takes a minute. And the Oilers, as much as they've had a lot of turnaround again, their big pieces have all been there and done that. And so I feel like they'll go through it. To me, Utah is one of the scariest teams in the playoffs to me, because they're fast, they're skilled, they have some size, but they're a team that, again, doesn't have a ton of experience in the playoffs, but the difference there is I feel like they can get overwhelmed a little bit, Utah can, and then you make that one mistake and they have the guys that can make you pay for it. And then before you know it, they get a little momentum and they're gone. To me, like that's a scary team to me.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would not want to play Utah in the first round either. Let's talk about the Oilers a little bit. How about this newish line of Szymanski, Frederick, and Doc? For me, they've really, driven the play, provided some energy when the Oilers need it. There's some guys coming back. Do you see this line staying together?
I mean, like the only one to me is Szymanski that could get moved out just at the beginning, not because he doesn't deserve to be in the lineup. It's the easier one to move. And to me,
right,
Doc has played really well. But what's more important is Doc in the lineup has made Frederick much better as well. Right? Like there's those, right? Like those first couple games that they played together before Doc got hurt, like Frederick was still trying to really figure it out. And then within half a period of playing with Doc's run a couple guys over. He's getting in pushing matches in front of the net. Now Frederick's like, well, I got to get in there and do it too. And he gets that deflection goal, right? Like it's making him better. So those two are important to me to stay in and play off each other. And Szymanski will be a good piece to have come out of the press box if you need that and be that solid player. Like I'm really, really impressed with how far he's come. Like I played against him in the German league his first couple of years, and he's taken these steady steps, but no way would I have thought that, not that he couldn't play in the NHL, but the fact that he could come over in his first year and take a jump. And then now now we're talking about, is he in the lineup in the playoffs? Like that's just a phenomenal job by him.
Yeah. What do you remember, Landon, about playing against Szymanski there then? I mean, he would have been a younger guy, not drafted and probably fairly slight and, one of those kind of skinnier kids that's coming up and a younger guy, obviously, in the league.
Yeah, I was always happy, especially over there, because like a lot of younger guys play, right? And for not being a very big guy, Szymanski's decently tall, but you're right, he hadn't filled out yet. Like everyone's a bit smaller still. It makes things a bit easier, but that first year, I'll be honest, like I don't remember him at all. He was young and playing very different roles in the games and all of that. But that next year, like he took a really good step, and all of a sudden he's taking more face-offs. He's getting a bit more ice time, and I talked to one of my buddies Morgan Ellis, who was a Montreal draft pick and played at the Olympics with me in 26. He played with them for a couple of years, and he was saying how it's just every year he just got that little bit better. He doesn't do anything great. He doesn't really even do anything just under great, but he's solid, and he works at the defensive side, just like a lot of Germans. To me, like they're either straight firepower like a Stützle, or they're really, really defensive minded. And he's on that side. And so now it's more about chiseling away and trying to get more offense out of him, because he has some decent skill, but he just, I mean, you know how it is, Schlemmer, like that first touch of the NHL, you just don't want to mess up.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? Like it's hard to make plays when you're like, I just can't turn a puck over.
That is true. How about let's move to the back end a little bit. Everyone been raving about Connor Murphy. In my opinion, I think probably the biggest help he's provided is steadying Darnell Nurse's game now. However that has been, I mean, for me, it's pretty simple. Murph just plays like a strong, hard, simple game, and I think Darnell Nurse is at his best when he plays the same. But what have you made of that pairing?
I mean, kind of what you're saying, right? Like to me, and everyone for the most part, but with Nurse, right? Like when he gets into trouble, it's when he's trying to do too much, and it's from caring too much in a sense, right? Like he's trying to cover up holes all over the place. He's trying to make the big hit. He's trying to make the perfect pass. It's too much, right? Like it's too much to ask of himself. But you pair him with Connor Murphy, and their whole job is be hard to play against and don't get scored on.
Right.
That's like your baseline, right? Anything above that, great, perfect. But it simplified everything out. It gave him a real clear role that was obviously there before, but reinforces it. And then having a guy like Connor Murphy, another veteran player that is sure of himself and can kind of back himself up in the sense of, hey, like, this is what we're doing. Like, let's just do this. We'll be the hardest pairing to play against in the playoffs. Like, if we do that, we're giving our team a really good chance.
Landon Ferraro with us, Kevin Karius, David Schlemco on Sports 1440. Matthew Savoy's come a long way this year, Landon, in the sense of, he's got 15 goals. But once, as you said, when your first playoff series there, where it went 7 games against Tampa Bay, it took you a while to settle in, and because everything gets elevated. How do you think he's going to react to his first playoff series here?
Well, first off, I'll probably say that different mindsets and different confidence in your abilities, right? Like, I was a bubble guy that played the last 3 games of the regular season and did well, so that I took someone's job for those 7 games. But like, it wasn't like I had been there all year and been building this moment. It kind of came out of nowhere. Savoy has been building since day one. Well, since last year, he's been building and getting more confident, trying to figure out his game. Then he gets to this season, and you can see that there's a player there, but just the points aren't coming. And for the first while, you're like, that's fine. He's young. He's figuring it out. But then it keeps kind of dragging on. But I love the fact that he kept pushing, kept trying to get better. He didn't get discouraged, or at least didn't let it show. And then just before the Olympic break, he started to figure it out a bit more. And then after, he's been great. So the biggest thing to me is what he's done is open up a lot of options for the forwards, or for the Oilers up front, right? But now you're asking, right? Again, for me, I had to go in and block shots. And literally my job, fourth line played against Kucherov's line and just said, do not get scored on, and you've done fine. If Savoy goes out and just doesn't get scored on in this series, it's a real disservice to the Oilers. They need him to produce. He's shown that he can do it. So now it's about showing it that you can fight through stuff in the playoffs. And I think he can. There's a lot of smaller guys that, just end up on the outside a lot, but very, very different players that I'm about to say. But in a way, they have the same mentality. Like Savoy and Brendan Gallagher, again, vastly different people, but small, but are not afraid to get to the front of the net. Like Savoy's not going to be punching guys around, but like, you see him, like, he protects the puck. He goes into one-on-one battles and fights to get in it. Whether he wins it or not, he's got that fight in him. So I'm excited to see how it goes for him in the playoffs here.
Yeah, me too. He's done it right all year, right? Like you said, he's put in the work. He's built up his game. So I'm just hoping he keeps that confidence to kind of make those plays he's been making lately, and not go back to kind of that cautious game he had at the start of the year, afraid to make.
For sure, he has to. And I just got to say one more time, I am not saying he's Brendan Gallagher. As I'm just sitting here, I'm like, please don't make that the clip of all this. It was just about the heart of the guy.
Josh already put it out.
What about a guy like Ike Howard? He was pretty impactful in the last game. Maybe save for a couple turnovers at the blue line in the second period there, but not like Savoy. He's a guy who's been in the minors all year. Can he be as impactful, like, consistently to stay in the lineup in the playoffs, do you think?
I don't know if he's quite at that level yet. And if we're being honest about it, like, if that's the case, it's not great for the Oilers. And that's not a swipe at Howard. That means there's not a lot of guys, and that's putting him in a tough spot. Like watching the game the other night, he had a great first period and a pretty good start to the second, but that first period was awesome.
Yeah.
And for a guy that has played some games and sent down for, the majority of the year here, all you're looking for is strides, pat steps forward. And the way that he was involved in the guts of the ice, he wasn't that earlier in the year, right? So to me, you got to be really happy with where his game is taken, but really hoping that it doesn't mean that you have to force him into a playoff series right now.
You don't need him. You don't want him to have to be a top 6
Exactly,
guy.
right? Like, if it happens, great. Let him get the experience and look at it that way, and maybe we're surprised. But you're obviously wanting some more veteran players in that spot for a playoff run.
Yeah, his trajectory is where Savoy was a year ago.
Yeah,
that's
great
where
way to
he
put
is.
it.
And it's what a year of pro hockey can do, right? Like Savoy has learned a lot of those lessons already, and it still took him a half a year this year to really get going.
Hey, Landon, great stuff. What's your schedule here like with everything moving forward, PWHL and everything else that you're doing out there?
Yeah, I'm starting to wind down a little bit. I got all my radio hits still with the Oilers stuff and the pre and post through the playoffs. I got one more PW game. What is it? It's on the 25th to wrap up their season. And to be honest, I'm kind of done at that. I'll just be watching Oilers and the rest of the playoffs, telling my wife that I really have to watch all of it. I'm covering the entire league here.
That old trick, huh?
It's only the second year she hasn't learned yet, and she doesn't listen to us guys. Sorry.
No kidding. Thanks, Landon. As always, appreciate your input, and we'll listen to you tomorrow, pre and post for the final regular season game here.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Landon Ferraro, our pre and post game analyst here on Sports 1440 with Andrew Walker and Donnie P. The final regular season game will be tomorrow against the Vancouver Canucks. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show. It's 10:38 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, David Schlemco, Duke of Delburne, and Josh Fenwick with you here on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
It's time to hit the greens. Elevate your golf game with Country Club Tour Golf Academy. No matter your experience, our PGA of Canada teaching pros are here to help. Enjoy lessons year-round between our 7 CCT golf courses and 2 state-of-the-art indoor facilities. Choose the location convenient for you. We offer private lessons, group lessons, expert club fittings, and junior camps. Visit our website to learn more and get ready to take your game to the next level. Booking is easy. Go to countryclubtour.com/golf academy and schedule your lesson today.
Mr. Rooter sees a UFO.
Mr. Rooter says 1 plunge, 2. What's this? A UFO? An unidentified floating object. It's beginning to glow and levitate.
Thank you, Mr. Rooter. You have freed us from the gravity of the white hole. Humanity will be spared.
Wow! People aren't going to believe this when I put it in our new commercial.
If you want to believe in a plumber, call Mr. Rooter.
Nothing beats getting a deal at McDonald's. Why? Because you get a deal now.
And a deal later.
Redeem an offer from the latest mailer or on the McDonald's app and dig into instant savings. Plus, you earn points towards
Free McDonald's.
Now that's what I call
A double whammy of deals.
Why does that keep happening? Deals sent right to your door. Check your mailbox for the latest McDonald's mailer loaded with delicious value. For a limited time at participating restaurants in Western Canada.
Missioner Allen Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg public unreserved heavy truck auction is next Thursday at 9 a.m. with tandem and single axle trucks, including tractors, decks, dumps, man lifts, vacs, pickers, service, shunt, and tank trucks, plus more. Info at maauctions.com.
All this month, you can get in the swing of spring with Pot for Dough at Nisku Ford. Shop amazing deals on their entire in-stock inventory of cars, trucks, and SUVs. You're sure to find the perfect ride. Then, with every vehicle purchase, you'll get your turn to Pot for Dough. Just sink your putt to win fantastic prizes like gas cards, big screen TVs, Blackstone griddles, and more. See dealer for full details. Find your new ride at niskuford.ca. Above expectations.
Missioner Allen Auctioneering's Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg public unreserved equipment auction is next Friday at 9 a.m. featuring backhoes, excavators, forklifts, man lifts, wheel loaders, packers, road reclaimers, skid steers, telehandlers, turf mowers, plus commercial trailers and more. Info at maauctions.com.
This hockey season, before every game, check out the pregame show with Andrew Walker on Sports 1440. It's brought to you by Titan Supply, your only source for rigging, lifting, and hauling products. Visit titansupply.ca.
Think a quality golf cart is out of your budget? Think again. At the Golf Cart People, we have a fantastic selection of fully inspected, pre-owned carts starting at just $4,500. Choose from gas, electric, or lithium-ion power to fit your lifestyle. And the best part, every used cart comes with a 1-year warranty for total peace of mind. Why wait? Get the cart you've always wanted today. Visit the Golf Cart People. Find out more at golfcartpeople.com.
A long weekend pit stop without a Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid can be hectic. But when you get a Prius plug-in hybrid during Red Tag days, you can take advantage of an estimated combined range of up to 962 kilometers and get there with fewer stops. Take advantage of Red Tag days on now. Eligible customers can receive up to $7,500 in rebates, including a $2,500 federal rebate on select 2026 Prius plug-in hybrid models. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Sports 1440. All sports, all day.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Thanks for listening to Edmonton's sports leader.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 10:43 in Edmonton. SKS comes in again to talk about the buffet hunting that he's going to be. Look at his gut hanging up. Come on now. He's just so proud of this thing. I can't believe how Phil. We're not doing it every time.
Oh, we got it now.
Whatever. Swiss gullet maybe next time. Whatever. Anyway, we're looking forward to the big buffet that the Duke is going to be so graciously providing.
Can't wait.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I'll just cook lunch for all you guys.
Oh, I'd love to see that. Let's do that.
I whipped up a real nice dinner for myself last night.
Really?
Grilled cheese sandwiches.
Tomato soup.
Yeah, tomato soup. Campbell's special. I'm not like Josh Fenwick, the savant over here.
That's what I made for my 10-year-old before we had adult dinner.
Listen, I'm not eating this every night, but every once in a while, it was raining, snowing outside. Nice little cozy meal to watch the Ducks lose to Minnesota. Perfect evening.
So on Monday, Schlemmer, we asked Eddie Steele, like, how much. So say we go to this Szechuan Castle. So all you can eat Chinese food buffet.
Oh, Eddie'd be fun to watch.
Wow. Okay, like some people can eat certain foods. Like some people can eat 100 chicken wings or a whole pizza, the whole thing, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Some people can eat copious amounts of Chinese food, just the way it is. So how many plates do you think you could put back on a buffet afternoon?
Me? I'm not even a huge eater, but I could probably take back a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Eddie says, 3 full heaping plates. I get that. I have no problem with him doing that. I think I could probably go at it for a bit. Have 2 or so heaping plates.
Yeah, like heaping, maybe like 2.
Yeah. What's your go-to? Like, I mean, I got to have the ginger beef.
Yeah, I love ginger beef. Yeah. Like the General Tao chicken. I'm not a huge Chinese food fan. A lot of it's just a little bit, I don't know, salty.
Greasy and heavy.
Yeah.
MSG. Okay.
Yep.
So you wanted to do maybe address what Rick Bowness said to not to this team. I hope he said it to his team 2 weeks ago.
Well, I hope he said it to them before he said it to the media. I don't know. Yeah, I want to see what the fans think of this too on the text line. Like for me personally, that's drawing a line in the sand, right? Yeah. I mean, either you're not coming back next year or you're forcing management's hands and saying like, we can't have this core back. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
So to me, as I worded it earlier, Rick Bowness has earned to play with house money here.
Yeah.
So he's playing with house money, whatever he said following the game, whatever he says to his players. I mean, he's been coaching mostly as an associate.
But he's been in the league for like 100 years.
He's been coaching since for over 40 years.
Yeah.
But
And
So-
players respect the hell out of
for
him.
sure. And I don't really recall him, did
Doing
he?
this?
Some people said that he kind of lost the room in Winnipeg. I don't know if I recall that. I mean, again, they had 50 wins in Winnipeg when he was there, and they lost in the first round. I believe his greatest success as a head coach was right here in Edmonton in the bubble. And he took over in Dallas. And got to the final and lost to Tampa Bay in whatever 6 games. When he was the sacrificial lamb in Ottawa. He went into Ottawa in the early 90s, Schlemmer, when they were an expansion team.
Yeah.
They won 10 games one year.
That's a long year.
Yeah. So, but again, you're right. And you've been around long enough that you've been seeing him with other teams, being a part of other teams.
And players respect him. Like you see when he's on the panel and there's former players, like they all love him.
Yeah.
So like you say, he's earned the right to say something like that.
Yeah. So again, I'm with you where he's drawn that line in the sand. He goes, but I don't know if I'll be back. It's his call. Like even if Don Waddell says, I want you back, it's up to him. It's not like he's under pressure to do it. He was the most surprised guy in the world that he got a call to go coach them when Waddell phoned him. So
be interesting.
I don't think he comes back. I think he just wants. You're 70. He's going to be
Do
72.
you think he even wants back saying something like that?
Well,
or if he does, he wants a new.
Then he
new
wants
leaders.
the challenge.
Yeah,
But
right.
then he wants the challenge. But I'm not saying, okay, here's a question. And as I said, it's similar in Toronto because some people think with Matthews and Nylander and when Marner was there, can't win a championship with these guys. These are not champion. They don't have it in their heart to leave it all and everything. So can a player change? Can all those guys that Boone Jenner and from all accounts, Boone Jenner is a good leader. So maybe he's not talking about him, but all these other guys that he's mentioning, they don't care enough. Losing doesn't suck to them enough.
Yeah.
Can they change?
That's a tough question. I don't really think so. I think something like that, either you have it or you don't.
Right.
Either it's in you or it's not, that kind of that fire in your belly.
Hey, can you bring in someone that can teach those guys? Like,
I think maybe to a certain degree you can elevate them. But like I said, I think that's something either you have it or you don't. And you see it a lot with like scouts in the draft and stuff. And they're interested going like way back in, is he a winner? Does he win?
Like I'm thinking, okay, everyone considers Mark Messier the greatest leader in hockey. If Mark Messier in his prime was a leader in New York or whatever, could he grab someone? And I'm just using this name because I can't think of many guys off the Rangers that were younger because they were an old team. So when they won in 93 or 4, whatever it was, 94, Nick Kyprios, he's a young guy that came in. Not a whole hell of a lot of experience. Didn't play all the playoff games. Can Messier say, this is how you do it? Can you grab a guy like that if you're a leader like a Messier?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's way easier to do for a young guy like that. Like when we're talking about Matthews and Nylander, that would be like saying Messier went in and like turned Brian Leach into like this incredible leader when he was already like a different personality. Like maybe could he elevate him a little bit? I think so, but I don't think you're going to change like who you are deep down inside.
It's a good conversation.
It's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing when you talk about, and he used the word culture because I would change the culture, and I always say like that's to me part of it is, and you can talk about the environment and everything else which that brings, but to me it's about the guys at the very top of your leadership and your core leadership group that have what it takes and have it inside of them. And then when they look at a guy that might not be, maybe he's a fourth liner or a third liner or whatever, and they look at him in the eye and they go, hey pal, you got to be on the same level of what I'm at here right now. My engagement and everything, my investment, everything else.
But it's what you do before that too, right? That matters before you say that. Like, I mean, I was spoiled to have Shane Doan as a captain for almost 5 years. Like Donor is a guy, like when you come in as a new guy, he's gonna introduce himself. He'll be the first one. He's going to learn a bunch about you. He's going to ask you about your family. He's going to know your wife's name, your kids' names. He's going to make you feel like you are a part of that family. And then when he comes to you, when the emotions are high on the bench and screams at you, you know it's still coming from a place of love, not a place of like, just get your whatever together or you're out of here.
Do you think a guy like that, and okay, we're talking about Shane Doan being, and he's a great leader. Can he bring out that in you? And once he, as you say, he gets to know you a little bit, does he think that you have it in you for him to bring out or for yourself to bring out?
Does he think you have it in you? I mean, I think he's going to try to bring it out of you no matter what.
Yeah.
Whether he's successful in that, I guess, depends on the guy.
Yeah. Is it like, would you say it would be in that instance, is it 20% Shane Doan, 80% player? Is it 10 Doan, 90 player? Is it?
I think it depends on the player, right?
Yeah.
And that's how much you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
Some guys, I mean, this is a kind of like discriminating towards Russians, I guess, but like just an easy example of like Russians aren't the best team guys always, right? So if Donor goes and has a message for this Russian guy, and then he's got the same message for this young Western League farm boy from Saskatchewan, I think that the message is going to get through a little deeper with the farm boy than it is the Russian guy.
Yeah, good points. Good points. Good stuff, Schlemmer. Anything cooking for the weekend here?
I got another dance comp, buddy. I'm in one. Starts tomorrow.
Oh, that's good stuff, man. And well, you got to start fasting for this big lunch, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, because the guy's going to put on about 5 pounds there.
Can't wait. I actually can't wait to watch Eddie put in some work here. That's going to be great.
I think that might be just worth going. I'll have a salad, but just watch Eddie for 3 hours. Good stuff, Schlemmer. Have a great week. We'll see you next Wednesday.
You too, bud.
That's our co-host, David Schlemko for Cougar Paint and Collision. We're a family service and pride have earned customer trust for decades. CougarCollision.com. Ranger Nick says, hey, this is a great convo, KK. It's something we'll talk with Schlemmer maybe a little bit more next week about leadership and where it comes into play and how you can get the best out of a teammate. But not only that teammate can maybe bring out a little more in the best of yourself. And that goes with coaches and players as well. So coming up at the top of the hour, it is Fantasy Frenzy with
the former Rochep T-Bird,
Connor Halley, and the Duke of Delburne. Also coming up at 12, it's the Lowdown with Alan Mitchell, 2 till 6. Jason Greger drives us home with the Jason Greger Show. I guess we'll be joining Blue Jays baseball in progress, Duke. What are we looking at for first pitch today?
Same as yesterday, about 20-6. So similar by the time Gregor and Conman wrap up, it'll only be maybe second, third inning or so.
Won't miss too much at all. So Blue Jays baseball to follow, the Gregor Show. And then we'll have Fox Sports all night long. And we will be back with you here tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. Before all that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fusion Promo Marketing. Expand your brand. High quality promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Get noticed at fusionpromomarketing.ca. That's Fusion with a Z. Hey, thanks everyone for listening. Thanks for being a part of the show. Thanks for all the great texts and all the great interaction. We could not do it without you. Hope you have a fabulous rest of your Wednesday. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 7 bells. Until then, here is the Duke.
The Sports 1440 update.
Second to last night of regular season action in the NHL. Half dozen games to keep you entertained. Sabres hosting the Stars. Rangers are in Tampa Bay. Red Wings up against the Panthers. Sens host the Leafs. Sharks play the Blackhawks. And some out-of-town scoreboard watching for Oilers fans as Vegas Golden Knights hosting Seattle. In the NBA playoff play-in tournament continuing tonight with Orlando in Philly against the Sixers in the 7-8 game winner. Grabbing the 7th seed loser will take on Charlotte tomorrow night. And out west, Golden State will visit the Clippers in SoCal. The winner will go on to play Phoenix for the right to the 8th seed in the Western Conference playoff picture. Jackie Robinson Day across the major leagues of baseball. The Blue Jays will continue their series in Milwaukee against the Brewers. First pitch at 5:40. Dylan Cease on the bump for Toronto. Elsewhere, a couple games already underway with the D-backs and Orioles currently tied at 0 in the top of 2. Guardians and Cardinals are delayed due to weather. Coming up shortly, Red Sox in Minnesota against the Twins. And then later on, Yankees hosting the Angels, Cubbies in Philly. Seattle continues their set against the Padres. And in the nightcap, Mets playing the Dodgers in Los Angeles. Coming up on Sports 1440, it is Fantasy Frenzy with Hallie and Douglas. I'm Brendan Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.